man is God's servant. God has given him the answer.
It's true. God works in strange and mysterious ways. I mean, God can choose whoever God wants to choose for his messages and to get his point across. And I'm blessed. I feel honored and blessed and privileged that God chose me to let the patriots know what the answer is for taking back the constitutional republic. Because there's a lot of psyops going on. The Q psyop, which was put in place to make people think, ooh, the insider white hat good guys are inside and they're going to take care of the communists. That's all a psyop to deactivate patriots and keep them from doing anything. Make them sit on their ass and think somebody else is going to take care of it for them. No. We have to take action. And I know exactly how to take that action. And it's simple. And I've said it in a lot of recent videos. It's legal, it's lawful, it's peaceful, it's smart, and it's intelligent. You've never heard your commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, say this. We've never even heard Ron DeSantis say this. He's my governor, and he's the greatest governor Florida's ever had, and he's doing a lot of great things for the state. He's even talking about organizing the National Guard. But the militia is the people. That's the bottom line. We, the people, are the militia. The militia is not instituted by governments. The state has a statutory authority to create the National Guard. The United States federal government has the military, right, which is volunteer people. But even then, the government cannot use our volunteer people to violate the Constitution or attack its own people. So we, the people, simply have to organize the militia. The funny thing is, when you say organize the militia, people are so dense, they don't get it. They immediately jump to the wrong conclusion. Oh, the FBI is going to be at your house. Oh, you can't say that. What? I'm not going to get guns. I'm not marching to Washington. That's not what organizing the militia is. Organizing the militia is, let's have a point man in every county, a point man for every state, and a point man for the nation. That means there's a person in every county where you know you can call that person, and they are the recognized point man for the militia in that county. And they coordinate training. They coordinate training on the laws, having meetings to study the laws, having meetings about how to do court procedures for our rights, and having gun safety lectures, and having gun training in appropriate locations. Organizing the militia. Needs to be organized, structured. Call me, 305-910-6.
Coming from a galaxy near you, this is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
Doug, did you get that number?
No, thankfully. I would listen, you can either take that number and just prank the shit out of him or just be like, fuck that guy. Well, wow.
Well, welcome to Brothers in Booze.
Yeah.
Juneteenth weekend, Father's Day weekend. It's a great time to be pouring water on yourself, and also to be talking to someone that what I call a dad 2 plus, or what did I call it earlier? Someone that you've picked up because of you've been a dad 2. You're a dad 2 plus, Doug. If I can marginalize you any further, there we go. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, it's been another week. We've had still recovering from the work stuff, and my poor wife actually threw her back out this week, so I've been kind of trying to take care of the garden stuff, which is a lot. She takes care of all that stuff, so it's I'm usually not all that involved.
Women,
so it's like, oh shit, she does way more than I thought. So it's like busy, but. Thank goodness it's Friday, man. I'm happy to be here. What did you pour? What did you put in your glass, dude?
A Little Sister wheat beer from Door County. We're looking at 12 ounces here at 5.3%. We're looking at a nice summery light. Look at that. Lawnmower.
Oh, man. Look at that. That's great.
Probably shower. All that stuff. Beer. Perfect for the time. Y'all know I'm not a big whip beer fan, but this one does it well. And and it's a great representation. What do you got?
Well, I'm interested that before I get to what I got, that you are not generally a fan of wit beer. I thought you were. So interesting. I thought you were.
No,
It's not your style.
Wit and Hefeweizens is where it gets a little bit shady in this area for me.
Look how clear that is, though. So that one just
yeah. And again, I like them, man. I like them enough that I'll drink them, and if they're in a mix of 6 section or I can get one somehow, you know me, I rarely, even my favorite beer, I won't even be trying to buy a whole 6-pack of it. But I'm down for trying all beers. So so what's going on with you?
So I picked up something from Hudson Valley, New York. Daniel Fisher, if you're here, I'm sure you've had some of these. This is from Industrial Arts. This is their Hellesbach called Spring Landscape. So it's a Hellesbach lager. So really cool can art. Really simple. So, and I had 2 other dark beers, so I needed something lighter to start.
Yeah, so we're gonna jump right in. There's something I want to address before we get to Coffee Mike. Besides that, big, nice pour.
Jesus. Hey, and I didn't even pour that aggressively. Holy crap.
Nice.
Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, this is the part of the show where you show your beer, so we will go through that for sure.
So not very dark. Nice light lager, really good, really crisp. Good representation of the Helles style. So I take definitely a lawnmower style beer. So cheers, folks.
A lager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe we'll get into that a little bit. About lagers and all that. But I just wanted to say I had lunch with
Yay!
Rick and Paige. Amazing, awesome, fun. And they're in Milwaukee now, eating all the good food and drinking all the good beer that city has to offer. As I've said a gazillion times, Milwaukee, very underrated. People don't think of it as a destination to go, and people should, in my personal opinion. Again, we really only hear about the bad things about Milwaukee, and there's plenty of good shit going on. And it's Juneteenth weekend, so they'll be able to dig into some of that stuff too. So they are excited, and I'm excited for them. Just a little jealous because I can't go. So this week we did a little transformation over at the beer group, Beers for All. I changed the name. I wanted to get the name away from the name. Daddy Porter's Beer Group was great for the time period that the group was. It was great for me to get all my friends in there and all that. But within the last year, Doug, we both have had reflections of not only our legacy, but how our future is going to be. And with the health scares, it makes you think about things in different manners. So I thought ultimately, I've been thinking for a while that a new name for the beer group that is not me-centric would work for it long term. And also, I just think Beers for All is a hat tip to our friend ABC, because she's the one who founded the Beer for All Twitter hashtag. I don't know if you know that, Doug, because of the bullshit that she was getting in her DMs and people calling her all kinds of racist shit. So then they all turned that into the Beers for All, the hashtag. So that is a hat tip to her and that movement and all that. But it's also what I kind of want to be. Not what I kind of want to be. What I want to be as a beer group is to be opening. And we always, this isn't anything new. We always wanted to be opening and engaging to all people and all beer people. If you're still drinking Miller Lite and you don't know what the hell y'all pay $12 for a 4-pack for, sometimes it's actually $24. Right. So, and if you're just a new person or you're a beer snob like Doug and I, or a Scotch snob, I wanted to be able to address that. Also, now, feel free to talk about really any libation that y'all want to talk about in there. Let's open it up a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. We can use some bourbon conversations and some rum conversations in there. So use that as an opportunity to expand your palate in that way too. Because I don't know if you've been seeing my social media, but I have been. I'm going to distilleries and picking up nice bottles and bringing them home and having fun. So that kind of works a lot, Doug. And also within what's happened to us in the past couple months and year, because the truth be told, Doug and I need to be having less carbs. Doug and I need to be having less sugar. Doug and I need to be consuming things less. So a shot of bourbon sometimes is better for me than, unfortunately, a nice big tall glass of beer, which I really ultimately want at the end of the day. So having some nice tequila is really nice. The lady of the house loves libations too, so it's a way that we can connect because she's not really a beer person. So we a lot of this time, Doug, I will drive her to the distillery. She drives me to the breweries. So it almost feels equal. It's still not equal because I'm more of an asshole when I'm drunk than she, like when I'm buzzed. So not asshole in a bad way, asshole in like I just won't shut the fuck up. Y'all all know who's been around me. Just doesn't happen. So anyway, lastly, Doug, our friend Jerry Richard, who's been not only a co-host here, a friend, personal friend now, and he's also been a co-host, guest, all that. He asked if we would think about changing the first rule of the group from "Don't be a dick" to "Don't be an asshole." Now, I wanted to me, this is a long answer, so I wanted to address it here really quick. Okay, so what the origin of all of this is Dad 2.0. If I wouldn't have gone to Dad 2.0, not only would we not have our guests tonight, we would not have our co-host because I would have never met Doug. Doug would have never met me. Synergy would have never started. None of that shit would have happened. We ultimately met because there's a group called the Dad Bloggers Group. So unless you're a dad or a blogger or both, you got to be both, actually, you can't get in. And so it's just a group of dad bloggers. That's where I found Dad 2.0, and I'm pretty sure that's where Doug found Dad 2.0. But actually, I didn't even know that story. Maybe we want to get into it with Mike because we can find out how Mike found out about Dad 2.0, and I'm pretty sure I know, but I need to make sure. Anywho, the first rule of that group is don't be a dick. Now, yes, it's a male only group. There's no women in there because it's dad bloggers. Cool. But I don't see, and I want to talk to you about this stuff real quick. I don't see, so in that iteration of dick, to me, there's no gender to it. It's not a gender term in that manner for me. It's a personality term, and not all curse words are literal to what they are. Actually, watch that curse word show that I recommended two or 3 weeks ago, and you will find out that when you look at it, none of these cuss words are literal terms. So like, when we say the word fuck could be used 400 different ways, Doug, and it's not necessarily about. It's about it could be love, right? It could be I love something. It could be I hate something. It could be just fuck. It could just be an explanation, just like a release of thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that. So in that context, I don't see dick as a gender thing. I see it more as women can be dicks too. But to Jerry's point, everybody has an asshole. So if you're gonna do beer for all, and I guess women can be assholes too, but we don't normally call women dicks, but women can be dicks. Like dick is so I was talking to Rick and Paige about this too, and they kind of agree with me mostly that dick is not a gender term in that way. It's just more of a way to describe a person who annoys the hell out of us. So they came to the conclusion, Doug, and then I'll let you jump in here, that dick is worse than asshole. Meaning dick isn't if someone describes you as a dick, they mean that you're being intentional about who you are, or what you're doing. And an asshole, you could kind of like be a random asshole and not really be intentional about it. Thoughts about all of this, and then we'll bring in our guest and we're going to get his comments on it too, because I know he's a brilliant guy and we've had conversations like this at that too.
Yeah.
It's 3 a.m. So you go, Doug.
Well, I kind of see Jerry's point. I actually, initially I was kind of in your camp with it, but I thought about the idea that I thought of was the idea of using the word dude. I've used dude for everybody for a long time. And, as I've grown and met more people who are trans or non-binary, dude's not really appropriate. So maybe it is something where you do asshole just because you want to be a bit more inclusive. You want to include more assholes. I don't know. Nobody,
Okay.
please, nobody sample that and use that against me at a later date.
Right. Someone put the earmuffs on Zach. Anyway,
Yeah.
keep going.
But I do agree that use the same. You're being a dick is generally like much more aggressive. So, but asshole, I think is, if in the interest of inclusivity, maybe that is the right way to go. I don't know.
Right.
Don't be a fucker. That's a good one. I like that. Hey, whoa! What about our ace friends? Yes.
Or what about? Should we ask the group?
Yeah, we could do a poll. We could do a poll in the group.
That sounds fun. Okay, great. Well, we spent 20 minutes blithering on while our fantastic guest
Just hanging in the background.
was right. We're like holding them. We hold these people in the green room with no snacks, Doug. We said we would work on this. No booze. We don't provide anything in our green room. So I don't know how we change that, but we should be able to.
We didn't even agree to all his writer demands. I don't know how he's sticking around.
Right. But without further ado, we're going to bring in our friend, Mike Tremoulet. Did I say that right?
No?
There's no B. Tremoulet, not Tremoulet. Tremoulet. Close enough.
Tremoulet.
We're so
now,
bad.
Not if you're being a dick or an asshole, but we'll figure that out. Anyway.
Yeah, we got time for that.
How the hell are y'all?
How are you? Nice to see you.
How are you? It is good to be seen. Pardon the glare behind me. I didn't sort out TVs and shit.
Yeah,
anyway.
Just throw it out. Throw the TV out. It's okay.
We'll just lean. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah. So, is there anything in your glass? Coffee?
There is not yet. So funny. Okay, so I decided to level up. Beer, not my thing. I'm glad we're opening this up to other libations. I have 4 beers in front of me. You're probably going to tell me more about these cans than I know about them. Anyway, there's a little specialty beer store that gets really crazy shit in from all over the place and keeps them. That's a walkable distance from the house. So I've got 4 cans in front of me for tonight because you don't send care packages, and I've got an array of whiskey bottles, actually liquor bottles. There's a mix of things down here. So we're gonna do pairings tonight. We're gonna do chasers. Okay.
Yes.
So I've got.
We're gonna have another Zach Rosenberg experience. This is gonna be great.
This is the goal. I got 4 cans of beer. No real idea what's inside them, and then we're gonna figure out what to have after them to pair with them. And we're gonna have a blast. It's gonna be good fun.
Oh,
this is gonna be
great.
Awesome.
Well, let's talk about
water, just in case.
Let's talk about dicks and assholes. Where are you at on what we said before?
Where do you stand on dicks and assholes?
So I appreciate between them. So I appreciate the inclusivity of the group to not necessarily call people a dick. Like I actually do appreciate that point. The point I made somewhere in the comment is don't be a dick. A dick is something you go hit somebody with. Okay, a dick is sort of an aggressor in the context of this. Assholes tend to receive. So there's something about there's passiveness in being an asshole that isn't. Zach, you've got hours. There's something passive about being an asshole that's really sort of direct and forceful about being a dick. So if I tell somebody not to be a dick, it's about really minding your manners and sort of check yourself and how you're affecting the people around you, right?
I like that.
But I love that we need some other term and body part that we can think about that is a little more inclusive, that does bring that, be nice to the people around you, right? Because basically just be conscious of how you show up and how you affect the people around you in the middle, right? Haven't figured out what the answer is yet, but We'll keep thinking about that. I look forward to the poll. I like the poll idea. Let's see if we can group something in
that's
here.
a good idea.
All right. Look at that. Well, we all come together for a poll, so that's
Don't be at pills.
Look at that. Look at that.
I'm a brand.
Any comment on a video that started this whole messy show this evening?
No. Let's just go with no. That was only mildly terrifying to watch.
It's very long.
Yeah. I caught about the back half of it.
The Patriots.
If you caught the back end of that whole thing, as we were talking about assholes, that you caught the gist of the whole thing.
Yeah. I got enough to know. I like, where do we go from here, right?
So,
go on.
well, so Mike, how about this? I think a part of telling, because Doug and I know who you are, and we haven't given you any introduction, but part of telling who you are, I believe, is tucked into this question I'm about to ask, which is, how did you find Dad 2.0?
I want to know what you think the answer is before I tell you the answer. You told me you think you know the answer. I want to know what you think the answer is.
Yeah, Doug, do you know it?
I do not.
Okay. I got an educated guess. It's an educated guess.
You guess, and then I'll guess, and we'll see how close we are.
The educated guess is he found out through his wife. That's my educated guess. Because Christine is as big. Okay. She's as big in the Dad 2 community as Mike is. They're like equal. So, and she's not a dad blogger, which Dad 2 focuses himself on. So,
arguably, neither was I, but ignore that anyway.
So, well, again, I said that y'all equal, though, in my opinion. It's almost like the same.
Two big personalities. I get you.
Normally, right, but normally, it's not that way. Normally, nobody knows my significant other. Everybody knows me. There. How about that? Is that so? Like everybody knows you and her almost equally. So that's why I'm going to state that as my reason.
All right.
I'm going to say it is either John Pacini or Patrick Quinn. Because of the Houston sort of connection.
So you're actually both correct. So the first year I found out about Dad 2.0, it was in Houston, and Christine, the photographer, had gone out to take photos of the event. Day one of the event ends, and she calls me and goes, "You should really come down and see this. I'll talk to John. I'll talk to Marla. We'll get you a badge." And a handwritten badge. It was like the second year of the conference in existence. But there's a hotel downtown. I walked there. I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of cool. Let's do it again next year. And away we go. Right. So that was my introduction to the community. Christine got hired to be a photographer. It's like Mike should get to know these guys. And here we are. Yep. So
yeah. We're not here to talk about Christine because she needs to come on here her damn self. Anyway,
She's apologized for the week she had. Otherwise, she would be here with me in the process. We would drug her in, but you've got me tonight. So.
But y'all don't, right? And Mike's great. Don't get me wrong. Again, like y'all equal for a reason, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Look at Doug.
I'm going.
But your wife, you already knows the star. We love her here too. So
absolutely.
All love. But Doug, did you have a follow up to any of this Dad 2.0 talk, and Mike?
Well, I wanted to actually see, since you talked to you at 4, and Zach is in a hurry to get him drunk. What are you going to crack open first?
What are we going to crack open first? Let's. I'm going to pause that question first, actually. So we're going to combat whatever the hell that video was you said at the beginning. I'm going to make one reference to coffee here in the middle about this, and then we're going to get back onto this. I'm going to hold this up here. And no, it's not. It's actually water. But can I get the glare off of this thing? Love black people like you love black coffee. Ooh. I love this mug. I love the message of people behind it. Coffee black with an X instead of an O. For those of you who want to look these things up, great thing.
Hey, Greg, I think that's ABC talked about them. That they were like she got.
I've heard of them.
I think so.
Yeah.
So Coffee Black is a nonprofit and a coffee shop out of Memphis, right? But they've written a documentary. They've authored things. They've created an all black coffee supply chain. And they're not wrong. Coffee was stolen from Africa by the Dutch in, I don't remember what year, 16 something or 14 something, goes way back, right? And so they're basically trying to reinsert the black heritage of coffee into the whole supply chain, into the whole thing, and it's something we could all celebrate, right? So as you're pivoting the name of the group, as it's becoming more inclusive in terms of what this group is going to be, I want to make sure I grab that, because that's one of the many. I do technology consulting and big data at work, but one of the many other things I get to do is also a lot around inclusiveness and diversity for our teams, something near and dear to my heart, and how we create this language, how we create these environments for people to shine. So a little shout out to those guys out there for doing something amazing in coffee. What am I going to open first? I am generally a dark beer fan. So this is, and I live in Houston. So there's about a month out of the year that I really get to enjoy stouts and porters. And then I'm kind of screwed the rest of the time. We're going to start light and go dark. So we're going to start with Otto from Eighth Wonder, which is a hoppy lager. Okay. So we're going to see where we go from this. Eighth Wonder, a local brewery here in Houston. I know some of the guys who started this. You guys can tell me more about that. I'm sure that you can.
Yes.
I don't own beer glasses, but I'm in the South, so it's a mason jar.
Is Texas considered the South?
Yeah, we still consider ourselves the South.
I consider the South the Southeast, and I always consider Texas part of the Southwest for some reason.
Texas is really big, so
part
of Texas would tell you it's the Southwest. Part of Texas would tell you it's part of the South.
That's great.
We're kind of growing like that. All right, a better pour than Doug. Let's see how this goes.
Right. I don't even know what you're talking about, Doug. Texas is south. Does it get any more south?
No, but it can go very southwest with the Alabama, Mississippi, you can get into deeper south. I grew up in Kentucky. I grew up on the top end of the South. I kind of stay around the outside of the Mason-Dixon line. But
it's hard. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's a little hoppy, so it's not IPA hoppy. There's definitely something citrusy on the backside of this thing.
Love it.
That would not. Yeah. Okay. I like where we're going here. I
like it too. Let's start. Too.
Why do I have so many liquor bottles next to me? Because I learned that beer, wine, cocktails, I drink like water. Jesus, you're not wrong, Zach. I don't moderate my drinking of things like this. I can't slow. I can't nurse. The only thing I found I can nurse is neat whiskey. So when I moved into consulting, I figured out that I was going to be drinking more and more in a socially professional setting. So I really needed to figure out how to pace myself a little bit. Otherwise, you start going, and then I'm 5 drinks in before I start to feel anything, and then I'm 10 drinks in before I start to think I'm at 5 drinks. It's like the freight train is coming to knock you over. So we talk about moderation. That's why I've got water here with me in the process. But...
All right. So, Doug, I gotta pose this question. We got a Texas guy. Texas to me is a lot of different things, so we can talk about that, Doug. One thing though that Texas to me is on the lighter side. On the lighter side, of course, we might get to the serious shit later.
Oh, bring it. Come on.
On the lighter side, Texas is sorry, Doug, manliness and like it's always been for me. I've been in Texas probably for hours via plane in the airport, so I haven't been to Texas. Okay, so that's just a disclaimer.
All right, so let's unpack. Let's unpack Texas a little bit.
But hold on though. I just want to see. I just want to tell you real quick what people who've never been to Texas think about Texas, or just make up in our minds because we've never been there. One of the things is barbecue and beef and cattle, and
yes, sir.
So this reminded me of this. Okay. Let's settle this with someone from Texas, because again, if somebody knows steak, it will be a Texas person. So barbecue sauce.
Watch might be a vegan.
I don't even know what the fuck. Beef or ketchup, steak sauce, or none of the above. Mike, you go first because you're Texas. You need to tell us what the hell's up.
I get this, and I see Jeff Tepper in the comments. Jeff, good to see you. You're going to keep me honest about Texas. Ketchup is out the window. The ketchup on a steak doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm probably going to go to barbecue sauce. Let's acknowledge that steak sauce is a close cousin to barbecue sauce, right? So I'm having it on the side. I'm not slathering a steak in it, but I don't mind having sauce alongside a steak.
Okay.
It's an optional. It's a condiment. Butter, by the way, hella delicious. Garlic butter along with the steak. Grill a steak sometime and just put a pot of butter over the top of it. It's going to look so much better. It's going to taste so much better.
The comments are saying nothing.
No, I understand.
D.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Team no sauce.
If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
if you're gonna pick something, I would take barbecue or maybe steak sauce. But you know,
I found chimichurri is fantastic.
oh, now you're going to Argentina, another country that knows to use their steaks well. So Argentina knows a thing or two about beef.
Doug, you want to answer this? And then Mike was going to break down Texas for us from a Texas man. Tell us, Doug.
Team no sauce. I'm with that. Salt, pepper, throw it on the grill. Medium at the most.
No sauce, no juice. No.
Dude, you don't need
It's
it.
grilled, not barbecue. It's grilled, not barbecue. This is a condiment on the side. Okay.
Yeah, that's I grill steaks and I grill them medium to medium rare, and they're so juicy you don't need any sauce. But the idea of putting that butter, I've seen people do that, and that looks delicious. I just never tried it.
So,
Yeah, we're getting all the people about the steak stuff now.
Right?
No. But it's all coming out, and nobody in the comments is wrong. Like, I love what they're doing. So it's like you said, grilling is high heat. That's what you want to put on a steak to get a sear. I want the outside of the steak to be relatively dry. So salt, pepper, and maybe some spices. I don't do a wet rub or anything like a barbecue. I don't put sauce on the steak when I'm cooking it. But if you're going to tell me what am I going to have with the steak because I want something along with the steak, that's where I'm going into that. But you want high heat, you want to sear, you want to crisp up and brown the outsides, caramelization, Maillard reaction, all that lovely stuff. That's what a good steak is. As opposed to barbecue, now we're going to get into some of the religious debates across the South. Texas is brisket country. Texas is heavy beef. Texas is wet rub. So you are mopping the meat in low and slow barbecue cooking. I'm waiting for someone to tell me I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure I'm right here. And that's the difference, right? So you're going to form a bark on the outside, but I haven't found anybody in Texas who does that sort of straight dryer only with like salt and pepper seasoning, maybe. And then you're right, maybe. But I expect it to be more of a wet rub in Texas.
Greg, you guys do brisket at your house. How do you do it?
We don't do brisket.
You did it once. That's right.
And the kid fucked it up, and we haven't. We haven't. Man, I love brisket. We haven't had it forever, man. I love it, but I don't know. We're as a family, we're still too scared to try it on the smoker. So,
I've had so much bad brisket in my life. It's not my favorite. I'm a pork person. I'm a shitty Texan. I prefer pork, but.
Oh, okay. Doug, anything else on this angle?
Just that the brisket that I mean, I'm a heathen. I use an electric smoker, so I don't have to fuck around with it at all. So, I salt, pepper, garlic powder, and throw it on there and monitor temperature. And that's literally all I do.
And it works.
Oh, it works. Comes out. I've only had one where, for some reason, the smoker went a little bit over 250, which is the max that mine can go. And you're right, brisket is not cheap. A 5-pound brisket is $50. So yeah, it's not cheap, which is weird because brisket is a really fucking tough cut of meat. It's not a prime cut of meat, and it's still super fucking expensive. And it's because people grill and smoke all the time. That's why. Right.
It's got that it factor. You know what I mean? Like people, word of mouth. And then it's just automatically assumed that a brisket is like the best part of the whole thing. So,
Jack.
Right. Yes, I do. Thinking about doing that tomorrow, Zach. And that shit's good. I don't care what Zach says. So, or have we ever given a fuck what Zach says? So, you were going to break down. Were you going to break down Texas just in general, or Texas food, or what's up?
Texas, so let's consider the state is enormous. I can drive 9-10 hours east to west and still be in Texas.
That's insane.
Right. So we've got kind of all of the climates of the world in here. We've got parts that are snowy, and parts that are in the mountains, and parts that are desert, and parts that are swampland where I live, etc. Texas will shade. Oh, I never get the colors right. I think blue is the color that we like. I like. So Texas gets blue in the big cities, and gets very red very quickly as you get into rural Texas. And for a state the size of Texas, there is a lot of rural Texas. Okay. You get a lot of nuance around the border towns where you have a lot of intermingling of Mexican and American populations all across the southern border, right? You have up to the Panhandle, you have cowboy and ranch country throughout. You have hill country in the dead center of Texas, which is actually really beautiful, and like a lot of rolling hills. You can get into the mountains, the cold rivers out towards West Texas. There's a whole lot of nothing across big parts of Texas. So kind of like the whole of America, Texas is hard to pin down and say there's one thing about Texas, right? This is what I find interesting about the state. I'm really not a fan of how we aggregate and make decisions as Texas right now. I think Texas has made some incredibly dumb decisions recently. We're giving Florida a run for its money, and that's saying something. But at the same time, it's one of those things where there's so much good along with the bad. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to put Texas in a corner and say Texas is all this or all that. There's a lot of good with a lot of bad because there's just a hell of a lot of Texas. And that's, it hurts me to say, but sometimes the bad wins out over the good. I have friends who are moving out of state because their trans children are no longer safe in this state. Like this I know, but this is a reality I live in now, right?
Yep.
And it's like, okay, and I can't fault them. I can't fault them at all for that.
Yep.
That hurts. We can do things in pockets, but when the state starts to set policy, then it all goes a little sideways. So this is probably about as political as I ever get on Facebook, but there you go. That's where I'm at. Like, protect the kids, protect people's right to be who they want to be across everything, and then we'll deal with the rest collectively. Be nice to people. Don't be a fucker.
Don't be a fucker. Amen to that.
Right?
Right? It's pretty simple.
All right.
Like,
my monologue.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like the whole idea of like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like, where is that in this whole thing?
Yeah, but exactly.
Regardless. So I'm gonna jump into the second one because I finished my Hellas. So I'm gonna do a gluten-free beer, Glutenberg Stout.
Okay.
Millet and corn beer.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
What the hell is millet?
I'm not exactly sure, other than a grain, but so this is actually out of Quebec. But we'll see how it is. 5% out of a stout. So
okay.
I've never had a millet and corn beer, so this should be. And the idea of making it into a stout is a little weird to me, but pours really well. Look at that. That looks good.
Nice. Greg, what are you working through?
Millets are a group of highly variable, small-seeded grasses, widely known around the world as cereal crops or grains.
No kidding.
For human food, most species belong to the tribe Anise. Okay.
Anise. Is
that
that Anise?
Yeah, panic. Yeah. Looks like corn.
So,
and
this is roasty in this nose, but not as much in the palate. It's almost like a flat stout. Like it's got flavor. It's got good flavor. It doesn't pack that sort of typical stout roastiness that you get. And it's definitely good. It's actually, because it's not that punchy with that, it actually is something that actually feels like it would be very good when it's warm. Whereas, like, sometimes it's the stouts, it's like, oh, it's 80. I can't have anything that heavy. This does not drink heavy. So this is, like I said, it tastes more almost like a flat stout, but it's not bad in that way.
All right.
I like this. I promise. Go on, Greg.
No worries. Bach Wild. Your atypical Bach beer, nutty, with a little touch of fruit. Nice lager style for this type of year. Drinks pretty good. Wisconsin Brewing Company. What were you gonna say, Mike?
That I promise you pairing. So on the back of a hoppy lager, we're going to MKT's Smokestack Texas Gin.
Texas
MKT is a
gin.
distillery here in Houston. A friend of mine owns this. This is locally sourced Texas botanicals, including ruby red, grapefruit, pecan, and juniper. I haven't cracked this bottle open in a minute. 86 and a bit proof. And,
Did you say pecan? You were talking about pecan in that?
Yep. Locally sourced Texas botanicals, including ruby red, grapefruit, pecans, and juniper. So, and everything's better in brandy snifter. I don't care.
Right.
You're not wrong.
Right.
So this is
No
this is a
arguments
nice
here.
this is a nice gin that I can drink straight. It's a little on the sweeter side compared to gins through the grapefruit and some of the other things in there. So it doesn't pack the same kind of hairspray punch that bad gin can.
Hairspray punch.
Oh, we're going to tell the story about Mike Teenies in a minute. Then I can see this is coming. But yeah, but that's not bad. That's going to bring down some of the sweetness from the lager and kind of temper it a little bit, but still stay in that very kind of floral, fruity range. Okay, that works for me. We'll tell the story of the Mike Teenie. One of the top 5 drunkest nights I've ever had in my life. My 30th birthday. My wife, the stellar, wonderful person she is, convinces my family to fly in. Friend of mine from college, all these things. Complete surprise to me. One of the few times she's straight up surprised me in my life. We threw a party. I'm with my parents. I decided I wanted vodka martinis at the party that night because why the hell not? Try it, figure it out. We're gonna go to the liquor store. It's at the house, whatever we do. So we go to the liquor store, buy the things for vodka martini with mom and dad. Go home that night. I go from 0 to shit faced in no time. And I mean, like slurring, put your ass to bed, Mike. Kind of 0 to done, right? And after a few of these, towards the end of the evening, okay, 6 months pass. 6 months pass. We're watching Food Network, and they come on a commercial and talk about making a vodka martini, which is two parts vodka and a little bit of vermouth and some ice in there. And I'm watching this, going, "Oh, that's how you make a vodka martini." And Christine just looks at me and goes, "What the hell were you doing?" And I was like, "I was doing 2 parts vodka, 1 part gin. I just two shots of vodka, 1 shot of gin. I put down 4 of those back to back." I was like, okay. And she not had Doug's reaction to that and said, "Okay, this will forever be known as the Mike Teenie. There you go. Never do this again."
Oh my god.
So,
Oh. Hey, I'm drinking some really shitty stuff in my day, and that sounds like something I would have just. Oh, that's all we have in the college dorm room. Yeah, let's throw that together. Let's see if that works.
it was a good night. I had fun. Anyway,
Bet you did the next day though.
it was a little rough, but okay. I've been rougher.
So a stat that Doug and I have been kind of talking about the last couple weeks is that whiskey is about to overtake vodka worldwide in sales. And I'm saying it's about time. I saw it was February. So I'm not sure. I don't think much of the the vodka ban that we have on stuff coming from Russia is affecting us. These were trends that were coming long before this. But with that being said, Mike, what are your the first thing that you showed us was a gin from a friend distillery, but where are you at in the whole spirits realm as far as like what are your favorite spirits? Doug's a Scotch guy.
Yep.
I'm a tequila guy.
So I'm born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky. Don't talk to me about basketball until we get to March. I don't care about who won whatever happened the other day. Sports ball happened. Yeah, we'll talk about that in March. So I'm a bourbon guy sentimentally, and I really do enjoy a lot of bourbons. I have learned to love Scotch. Let's just say I had a bad experience with Scotch in college, and it took me about 10 years to come back to Scotch. But my mother developed a real taste for smoky Islay Scotches before she passed away. And so I had in the process gotten back into Scotch in part because she was enjoying it. So I always keep a bottle of a peaty Scotch around, sort of in memory of mom. You can find some really interesting American whiskeys coming out. You can find, that aren't bourbon. You can find Japanese whiskey. I've got Irish down here. So I stayed pretty much in the whiskey camp. Gin is like I need something for the summertime when it's really hot. Gin is not. I don't have a deep gin library going on down here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bottles of whiskey and 3 bottles of gin down here on the floor next to me. I said I'm pairing and I don't know where I'm going. So, but that was me kind of raiding the cabinet behind this. I enjoy bourbons, and what I enjoy about all of this, particularly in bourbon, is that there's a hell of a lot of great bourbon to be had in the $20 to $40 range. Okay, so as craft bourbon has taken off, and as the bourbon market has grown big, there's a lot of bourbon that now goes for crazy prices that used to not. There's a lot of bourbon that will command crazy prices. There's a secondary market for bourbon. Okay, who the hell buys used bourbon? But okay, whatever. I can't buy into that, right? I'm not chasing a bottle by some mean that I need to complete a collection that I need to pay a mint for. There's wonderful juice to be had in a bottle at an affordable price that I don't mind taking off the shelf at the end of a day and having a drink or two to round off the day. Drink responsibly, don't have 6. One, maybe 2, kind of the ritual of doing it more than the drink itself. What do I put heavily in that category? How do I not? Well, I mean, hell. I figure this is coming up somewhere later on tonight. Mellow corn. Great fun of mine. So this is straight corn whiskey. This is not aged in barrels to the length. It comes, I think it's a Heaven Hill product. So Heaven Hill make amazing bourbons. Yeah, Mellow corn, that's 100 proof bottle of straight corn whiskey. Compared to bourbon, because it's all corn, it's sweeter. It's almost syrupier. Easily the best $13 I've spent on a bottle of whiskey.
$13. Wow.
$13. You can find this on the bottom shelf somewhere, dusty in the corner, because it's with the budget Agent Age and the rest of it down there. But find a bottle of Mellow Corn. Wild Turkey 101. Also a big fan. Typically about $25 a bottle around here too. Something I don't feel bad about taking off the shelf and having. And it carries a lot of flavor. It carries a little bit of a punch. One will do you. As much as I could say I have a daily driver whiskey, something like that falls in the realm for me, right? Scotches are a little more expensive. American whiskeys kind of hit somewhere in the middle. And I'm learning to love Japanese and Irish whiskeys. There's some good ones out there, but there's not so much depth that I found in the differences. We'll talk about some more of them later on in the process.
I agree with you as far as like the Irish whiskeys. There's really, it's a lot of one notes for me, the ones that I have. I mean, there's not a lot of variants. Whereas, bourbon, even though I'm not as big a bourbon fan, there's a lot of range in the way that bourbon is. And even obviously with Scotch, there's all these different regions and all of them make it differently and it all tastes different. So there's a lot of variance, even in that, just from one little tiny island nation. So Japanese whiskey, I haven't had a lot of experience with. Some, I did get one that was in a sake plum whiskey, which was really freaking delicious, but that's almost tastes like not like a liqueur because it's not thick and syrupy, but it's like almost an aperitif kind of deal.
It's so the bottle I've got down here of Japanese. Where are you at? Yeah. So Akashi, why did I buy this? Because I could get it on. Say you cannot see shit in that label. Akashi, there we go. You can kind of sort of see it in the corner. What I find with Japanese whiskeys is that they're incredibly well made. It's the same kind of precision you expect from like Japanese watches, Japanese cars, to the point that it's almost sterile in a way. Like it's really, really, really good and really well done and really kind of too perfect and almost lost some of the character that comes from having rough edges. All right. But I'll never go wrong with the Japanese whiskey. I just don't seek them out and buy a bunch of bottles. Scotch is such a map of flavors to go into. Irish whiskey, when you get into the good ones, so when you get out of the sort of bottom end of the market, it's one note, but it's some really good note, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's really enjoyable, but you're not going to get 4 different bottles and get 4 really different flavor profiles of Irish whiskey that I have found. Someone's going to argue with me in the process, but we're going to come back to beer in a minute. I'm almost done with the gin, but keep going. Clearly I can talk. You just throw something at me. I'll keep going here. We'll fill time.
All right.
I think did Zach set the 6-hour marathon mark that I need to beat here? Is this?
I think it was like 3 hours and 45 minutes. I think that was a marathon, man. Holy moly! I was so tired the next day.
Right.
My dog is like, "Hey, it's 6:30. Time to get up and take me outside." I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, and what y'all didn't see is Zach wanted to go 3 hours on the post-production.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. We can talk about the after party later. So what's going on, gentlemen? What's in the world? What's on your mind? What's hitting
I want to talk coffee, and I want to we never really got to talk coffee all the wonderful nights that I spent with you, especially that one night that I had dinner with you and your wife. I will almost never really forget it in New Orleans. We walked around New Orleans and we were just looking at and you have a really close. You know, New Orleans is really a place that you love, I would say, or
unpack this. I've got 7 generations of family history that go through New Orleans. So let's talk about
yeah.
this on Juneteenth weekend. This is an interesting dichotomy in my life. So I was born and raised in Kentucky. Dad grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and his parents, for about another 6 generations, traced back through New Orleans and the New Orleans area, then off to Gascony in southwest France, right, where Armagnac is from, which I really wanted to have a bottle of that, and I just finished the bottle I had and hadn't gotten a new bottle of Armagnac in there. It's like Cognac's rougher cousin. It's really good stuff. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. So New Orleans has a lot of family history. My memories of New Orleans are going to go visit my Aunt Yvonne and Olga and Yvonne and Uncle Pierre. So my great aunt, and my great uncle lived in New Orleans. Olga and Pierre had passed away. Oh, I like it. It's Cognac and Chaps. Sorry. Anyway. Oof,
Sorry.
No, not a problem. Annie Vaughn lived in New Orleans until Katrina hit, and at 92 years old, she decided she would go live with her cousin in South Carolina instead of rebuilding the house in New Orleans. Right? Like this is my family history with it. Dad has historical documents and so Dad's gotten into genealogy in his retirement. He's got historical documents and maps of all the different properties in the French Quarter that people in my family have owned at periods of time throughout. Like he'll go to New Orleans and point, we used to live in that corner, we used to live in that corner, through the family history and parts of it. When Louisiana signed the statehood, their state constitution and became a state, I think it was in the Tremoulet coffee house, which was on the edge of the French Quarter. Like, how cool is that? That's the great part of the history. Let's acknowledge the fact that my family came over from France and were relatively well off for the most part in New Orleans through the 17 and 1800s, or however far back that is, right? Do you think we owned slaves? Yes, sir, we owned slaves. It's a fact in my family history. Like I can't erase it. I'm not going to deny it. It's out there in the process. The interesting part of where history meets inclusiveness today was one time when I went home, and Dad's got hanging on the wall, right inside the front entry, a map of the various plantations along the Mississippi River. There's a famous map that sort of shows the bend of the river, but they stretch the river out and they show all the plantations, right? And it's a wonderful history exercise where Dad's gone through and said, yes, we used to live in, we used to own this plantation, like push pins of where the family was all throughout the plantations on the river. And I'm sitting here looking at it, having a very historical reaction, going like, this is my family history, this is where my people are, and absolute horror at the same time of, do you really need to put this by the front door, Dad? This is not the message I know you're trying to send by putting this out here. But let's think about the impact when you walk in the door and you've got a map of plantations and the push pins. You go, I can laugh about this, and you have the same reaction. It's like I'm not going to erase it. I'm not going to hide this part of the history. I can't go back and undo things. It is a part of my history, right? And so I acknowledge that part of my family history and where we've come from, and the fortunes and the immense amount of debt one of my ancestors got into. We talk about generational wealth. The amount of money the creditors went to and for, because he apparently had a big heart and no business sense. Jesus. Family fortune goes kind of up and down throughout the history of the process, right? But how do I as me sit with that and hold that when we talk about Juneteenth celebrations, when I go and champion inclusiveness and diversity all day long, right? And here's the speech I give at work. I love to talk about this, so you guys tell me how it lands, right? I was 2 years ago, the Houston office awarded me the Pride Ally of the Year award, right, for all of the championship and all the visible leadership that I do there. Right? It was a wonderful thing. And they asked me to talk about the importance of being an ally. And I tried to think about this. Okay, who am I? I am, stay with me, I'm white, I'm middle-aged, I'm married, middle management in corporate America. I have a kid, I have 2 cars, I live in a suburb. Like, I am, aside from having ADD, I am the patriarchy. Like, I take no diversity damn markers in my life at all, right? A little bit of mental health here in the corner, but otherwise, I am everything that we try and fight. Down with me. Okay, which is fine, right? I accept that. So what is my responsibility in that, right? I'm so damn passionate about it, and I've had 2 drinks, so you're getting the passion. It is on me to go educate myself, number one. Okay, I need to go out and seek out the viewpoints and seek out the learnings and seek out those perspectives that I don't have from all of the groups of people and all of the different labels and identity markers and everything else around me in the process. Thing number one. Thing number two, it's on me to create space. Okay, how do I create space for people to shine, where people can come together and really be their best self? Right? I could do this at work. It's in the teams I create. It's in the environment I get. It's putting people on stage. It's not putting me forward, but putting my teams and people forward and creating diverse teams in the process. And I love doing that. I love giving people a stage where they can go out and you watch them kind of come out timidly and then they start to shine in the world. Like, that's so much fun, right? And they step into their own and they step into the moment and they own it. So I'm a big champion for this, because I have to go out and speak for people who can't speak. I have to go out and educate myself in the process. And there's so much I have to learn. There's so much I have to learn in the process. That's awesome. That's so much fun. That's so cool. One of the moments I keep talking about actually happened at one of the Dad 2 conferences, not to keep bringing this back for half the audience that probably has no idea what we're talking about, but there was a panel on Black fatherhood a few years back, right? I remember sitting in that panel. I'm one of 3 white people in the room. There's about 40 odd people in the audience, 6 people up on the panel, and they're talking about Black father. It was one of the most powerful panels I've ever seen. Not because of the stories people were telling, but because whenever someone told a story, every head in the room nodded up and down. To realize how much of this experience is shared by everybody that I had no idea was happening out there. Okay. 2 days ago, I've got a young Black woman who's joined the company that I'm mentoring, and we're talking to some of our other new analysts who joined the firm. This is great. And I asked, does anybody know what Siri shortcuts are? Okay, I hate Siri shortcuts. I haven't found a damn useful thing they can do for me in my life. She goes, yeah, I have a Siri shortcut. It's for when I get pulled over by the cops. It immediately starts recording and calls my mother and lets her know where I am. And I'm like, my brain is catching up to the fact of, here's someone in her early 20s who uses Siri shortcuts. Wait a minute, she has a shortcut for when she gets pulled over. Oh, wait a minute. It's to actually start the phone recording and let mom know where I am just in case. And this is just sort of a normal part of life. Like, that stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, okay, why did I not see that coming? Like, how did I not appreciate that was a part of the reality? So we talked about that. Like, that's a powerful story. We should tell that story more. We should bring that awareness to more people like me who wouldn't have ever thought that was a thing. Right? This has become a really serious conversation. Someone rescue me from this, but I absolutely do believe this is the passion and this is the role I have to play to create space and tell these stories and bring that awareness and create empathy for people.
Done.
Well, as Greg and I, when we were doing the show, we were about a year and a half in, and this is not a horn tooting moment. I just said to Greg, I said, I really think we need to diversify this. I feel like we're getting a lot of dudes that look like me, which is great. We have a blast, but we need more different voices. And, thankfully Greg was like all on board with it. And, through that, we've had a lot of different folks come on the show and be able to speak to different things and their experiences. And it's a lot. I joke and have a good time on here, but I learn a lot when I just sit and listen to folks that don't look like me. I learn a lot, and it's important for me to learn that because, Greg, what you mentioned is a blind spot. I've talked on the show a bunch of times about having blind spots. As a white guy, straight white guy, I have a ton of them that I don't even realize. Like the idea of having a shortcut to call your mom when the cops pull you over, that's not an experience I ever have to have.
Right.
And
So let me pick up on that. Let me give her a shout out because I know she's been a guest in the past of the process. I know she's hopefully still lurking in the chat and I haven't scared her off. Lauren Yee, one of my favorite human beings alive. As a young Asian woman in California trying to become a homeowner, and I still need to hold you accountable to that. Pandemic's changed everything. Lauren is one of my favorite people to learn about, just her experiences and all the pieces and parts in the process. Doug, I want to come back to you in the process and the shirt you're wearing here as well. So one of the things I learned becoming a step parent, so Jason, my stepson, was 10 when Christina and I met, 12 when we got married. I always had the image of myself becoming the really cool parent. Hey, Lauren. I always had the image of myself becoming the really cool parent who would go out and just sort of be relaxed and really cool. I didn't realize how much I was going to become my parents until I started parenting. And it happens fast. Yeah, and I didn't appreciate how much of a preconceived notion in my head of what being a parent was until I was a parent. Okay. So we may as well here, and then I'll pour a beer and we'll get back on brand. But Doug, your children's transitions, if I can put it out like this, how has that challenged you to change your thinking, or how much ingrained of your parent history do we get into? Talk about that for 5 minutes. I'm
5
suddenly
minutes.
interviewing the host. Yeah, well,
Maybe
however.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'm not doing 5 minutes. I will say this: it is a constant learning process. However, I will say it's not nearly as hard as people want to make it think. I have a trans son. I have a non-binary kid. I have another gay kid. It is not hard. They're your kids. You just, hey, what makes you happy? Are you safe? Are you happy? Are you in any danger? If the answer to those things are all good, then great. It's really not hard. And if someone like changes their name, it's no different than like, all right, well, Aaron Gavea posted something about some kid that he knew that his name was Bradley, and he called him that, said, don't call me Bradley, call me Brad. Like literally, it's just as simple as that. You're acknowledging that, hey, you're human, you want to be known as this. Great. Honestly, that part is easy. The becoming your parents thing, Greg, I don't know if you have this, but like this, the idea of having different bits of your parents fly out of your mouth when you're trying to talk to your kids, and it's like, oh no, come back here, come back here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, man! Like I have heard my dad and my mom both come out of my mouth at one point or another, and just like that isn't okay.
Right.
Then I have to walk that shit back, and
Mm-hmm.
but walking that shit back is actually a great process to show your kids, I think. So you can show them that hey, I fuck up too, and hey, I'm sorry.
No, it is. And my parents are great parents, but at the same time, I'm also very transparent with Jason. It's like, this is 5 minutes later after I fucked up. It's like, by the way, I'm calmed down now. Here's what I did, and I apologize for that. And here's what went on behind the scenes. I am opening up a Black Matter from somewhere in Dallas. It's a coffee stout, Manhattan project. The can looked cool. I liked the names, and it was on brand for me. So we'll see what's in here. Go on, Greg. You were going to say
on brand coffee wise, yeah. As far as your parents go, that they weren't clearly they weren't infallible, but they did and said some things right. And we don't give them credit for the things, those things that fly out our mouth that we learned from them that are good things. A lot of times it seems like it's always the bad things that we that creep into, but there's a lot of good things.
Overcome something, yeah.
There's a lot of good things that they gave us collectively, overall that we use today. But a lot of those things, and let's just keep it real, whether we like it or not, a lot of those sayings don't apply anymore. We're a different world. It's a different, it's all different, a lot different. So some of that's not going to apply, and that's not their fault. Because how are they going to see in the future about the internet and all, the phones and all these different things that we have to mitigate that they didn't have to? What's going on with your coffee beer?
So Dallas and Houston have a rivalry for the ages. Those folks in Dallas all have big egos, and are a pain in the ass. But holy shit, they can make a beer. I may have to rethink my position on Dallas here on the back of this. That's a smooth, slightly sweet coffee porter, a little smoky on the backside. This is really damn good. Okay.
Damn, that sounds great, Doug.
I'm not allowed to like Dallas, but damn, that's a good beer.
You can like the beer. You don't necessarily have to like Dallas. Yeah. It's okay.
Right.
8 point. Okay, so I'm not a Cowboys fan. Let's just assert that. But 8.6% in here.
Ooh, 8.6. Ooh, baby.
For a porter. That's nice.
Hit me hard. Stout. Coffee stout.
Oh, okay, stout. That's nice.
But
nice.
It's got that little bit of sweetness behind it in there too. It's not all the bitter that comes from coffee, right? It's got that little bit of sweetness behind it from the stout. Okay, I can dig this. This is gonna be fun to pair. Okay, I got a few ideas down here. All right,
excellent.
I'm gonna be hammered by the end of this. Okay, keep going.
I want to play a little tease. I want to throw out a little tease. Doug and I got approached by another Dad 2 alum this week for a pretty cool charity event that we will be bringing y'all in September, but that's a tease because the information's not out.
It's top secret.
We're happy about that. If you hang around post-production, you might get the information.
I was like, are we gonna name the anonymous person here? Maybe that.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
All right.
You wouldn't know him. He goes to another high school.
Yeah.
I like it.
He's also been a past guest on this dang here stream once or twice, Doug.
Definitely once. I think twice. I could be wrong.
I think twice too.
All right.
Right.
So stay tuned is what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah, and it should be soon.
Let's see if I got this right.
He's working on it, but it's fun. Doug and I have been wanting to bring a charity angle to this. So someone brought one to us. So it's going to be fun and great. And I think even Doug's participating in the whole thing. So I might. But either way, it's
you have to. You have to.
Well, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So what was the pairing you pulled up, Mike? You poured something else. What was that?
I did. Actually, what I'm trying to do is learn the studio behind this. Jonathan, listening is key to be a better human being. I just want to shout out to that comment in there because apparently I can't work thank you. I can't work the stream to make that happen. I'm trying to decide if I paired that correctly or if I need to go pull something else here. Yeah, we're gonna call it good. We're gonna work with it. This is it'll work. Ardbeg.
Ardbeg. One of my favorites.
Ugadal in particular. This is a heavy hitting fucker. Where are you in there? Where the hell is the proof? Hang on.
That's on their higher end too.
It is definitely on their higher. Yeah. Here we are, 54%. So 108 proof. 108 and a bit. Yep. This is the tasting notes on the label are treacle, bacon, and bonfires. Okay.
Yeah. So smoky.
It's smoky. It's got the baconness behind it and a little bit of that sweetness from the treacle. So it's a counterbalance to the almost syrupiness of a coffee stout, right? It's a pairing that's going to work not at the same time. So I'm going to set that over on the side, finish the stout first, but it's going to be a way to come out of the stout, right? I'm gonna have something sweet, and I'm gonna have something that kind of resets the palate a little bit here in the process. And damn, I poured heavy too. Okay, fine. I got water. We're good. Anyhow,
I'm gonna run and go get some alcohol after this, though, Doug. But Doug, I wanted to show you. I wanted to show y'all a clip. Doug, we're continuing the theme here, Mike. I think you might have saw the clip last week. With the gamer dude. Like, Doug, I'm telling you, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Hey, don't fucking scream at me! You get off You suck!
I understood no words in that other than people were yelling at each other. So,
right. What is up with these gaming people, Doug? Tell us. You have a son.
I have a son who's actually a competitive gamer. So yes, no. So this is actually,
okay.
But they don't do that shit. I don't know what that is. Hey, I've been playing video games since I was fucking 10 or whatever, maybe earlier than that. And I got mad at shit and broke controllers and did dumb shit. Here's the thing. I might get hyper competitive. I would not do what the fuck those guys were doing. They were just like, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Right.
Nothing.
But is it that hyper competitiveness? Is that what we're...
It depends.
Is that what you're feeling?
It depends on how competitive you are. Now, I will say when I played basketball competitively in high school and college, I was a gigantic asshole on the court. I was
like that.
Close.
But were you a dick or an asshole?
Yeah. Oh, and we have
probably both.
Okay, fair.
Sorry for the pun. We have come full circle, but
yeah.
So okay, Doug.
If it can bend that far, Greg, I mean, it's impressive.
Yes.
If we could go that, if we could bend that far, we wouldn't leave the house.
Right?
I'm I am so mellow when I play video games, Doug.
It
Again,
depends
maybe
on
it's
the
just
game
my
you're playing.
age.
It
Maybe it's
depends on
my
the game you're playing, too.
age. Yeah, but it's always been a mellowing, calm thing. Even
Yeah,
though
but
you're shooting people in the face and jumping out of helicopters and all that crazy shit. It's in these games. It's
yeah,
always
but the
been
problem
calming.
the problem with it is your world is focused on this and the rules around it. Okay, the thing of it is, this is the new playground. Okay, this is the new dodgeball court. This is the new Foursquare. This is, for me, it was Foursquare. It was basketball. These are the highly competitive places growing up, right? So this is I remember that point in my life, and so much of my identity being tied up into those little, oh Lord, kind of that little microcosm. Like the world came down to these things, and when someone's gaming the system itself, when someone's playing on the glitches, when someone's preying
Yeah.
on the mechanics of the game itself, it's
Yeah.
like you're cheating at life around you. Okay. So you're very focused on a very narrow set of the world. And it
Yeah.
is all of the playground pressures, it's all the name calling, it's all the things that happen down in that little pocket of the world. So I'm empathetic. Jesus, how much have I had to drink? I'm empathetic for kids like that whose whole identity is tied up in that. Okay, whose whole world is there, that they can provoke that strong an emotion with other people, that they're going to come and yell at each other in the process.
High stakes Foursquare, Craig. You got to put that one up.
It happened. It happened. That's beautiful. I love it. But it's. I was really, yeah, I love that. I think that wins for the night. I was really heavily involved in my church youth group in high school, right? Like this was my social network. These were my people. This was my thing until that cratered, right? And, for a variety of reasons that unpacked itself my junior year in high school. And I had to kind of pull my identity back out of the pieces of that. And I didn't realize how twined up I was inside that, how wound up and wrapped up in that I was, right? And that's what I see in that video. And maybe I'm just the wet blanket of compassion tonight, but that's what I see. Is I feel bad for these kids who are so wrapped up in that.
Right.
That little aggressions provoke such stronger emotions. I can't ridicule it. I'd love to ridicule it. Because I think it's funny as hell and it's so ridiculous. But by the same token, what's gotten you to that point? It's like hang on, like let's rebalance life a little bit here for you. Let's open a window. Let's go see some daisies. Let's recognize that there's more to life ahead of you at that age than there is behind. I'm 40 something years old. More doors are starting to close behind me instead of open in front of me in the process. And I see this every day when I see people who are in their early 20s just starting their career in my company. It's like that's wonderful and awesome, and I remember how great it was that the world was in front of you. I'm kind of in my grooves. I'm doing great in my grooves. I have no regrets for my choices. I love what I'm doing. This is really a downer, sorry, but I feel empathy. I feel empathy for these kids who are so tied up in there, right?
Yep. Doug, we'll get to your third. We'll get to your third after this. So Mike has not been watching. Mike watches, he told me, a lot of YouTube, but the only thing that he's been watching or that he's seen recently is this. And
I'll expand on that answer, but keep going. Yeah.
And so it was in theaters May 27th, Doug. So how much can we allow Mike to talk for the spoiler wars? Is that
Top
long?
Gun? You're Top Gun. You're not going to be spoiling.
No. I'm not going to spoil it. Let me talk about the experience of going to see the movie. Okay.
But I've never seen it, Doug, and I hear good things about it. And if he tells me the ending, then I may not. It may. I'm
not going to tell you anything about the plot. So let me leave the frame.
They fly planes really fast.
But Doug, I feel. Hold on, Mike. Let Doug and I fight for a little bit before you jump on.
All right.
So Doug, I listen. I completely agree with you, actually, because I hated fucking Top Gun, the movie. I absolutely hated that movie. I even tried to watch it twice, and I think it's shit. Okay, come at me in the ads all you want. I'm talking about the '80s edition. Now, this one, Doug, seems to be different, and people are giving it really good reviews, and people are saying it's not like the first one, and it's all good. And I'm with you, Doug. Doug, I couldn't be more with you. But with this one, I almost feel like there's something different going on. So there's a part of me that doesn't want it spoiled, but there's also part of me that says fuck it, like you. Well, let Doug respond, and then we'll get to you, Mike.
No, I don't have anything to respond other than like, all right. So was Top Gun a great movie? No, it was an '80s movie. All those '80s movies are. How many '80s movies are actually great? Not a lot. Like, to be quite honest.
That's fighting words, but okay.
No, it is. No, it is not. No, it is not.
Okay.
From a cinematic perspective, there's a lot of memorable movies. A lot of movies I love from the '80s. Not movies that are great. There's not a lot of Citizen Kanes that came out in the '80s. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. So back to why you're all shutting me off because I said, "Are we in Spoilerville or whatever?" Well, let's get back to that.
I just think for something like, now I could be wrong because you're saying you heard. It looks like it's a modern version of Top Gun. Like, it's just modern.
It looks trashy. I'm feeling you, but
I like trashy movies. I like trashy movies.
But I'm not hearing that, Doug. I'm hearing nothing but good about it in a good way from people who don't just, sign off on movies and be like, yeah, it's good. Actually, people are like, damn, it's really good. I'm actually surprised. So that's why
I'd like to be surprised. So that's good.
But that's why and we could ask Mike this. When is this, like, especially in this day and age, when does it end? It came out May 27th. When are we allowed to talk about this movie in an open without anybody spoiling it? Is it a month? Is it weeks? What is it? And that's really ultimately the question, more than this dumbass movie.
Okay, well, so to that question, when can I talk about it in spoilers? I'm going to disappoint you, and I'm going to tell you it's probably 6 months from theatrical release, minimum.
Wow.
Let it get into streaming. Let it get into Netflix, where people who didn't go see it in the theater have a chance to see it. Be respectful until then. Now, there's a lot we can say about the movie without talking about the movie, and there's a lot of ways you can hide a bunch of white space or create places where you're going to talk about it, and people can mute this, go away. Anyone who doesn't want to hear about Top Gun for a minute, go refill a beer. That's fine. But we can talk about it for a second. But I am generous when it comes to how long do I go before I start talking about things for spoilers, because there's a lot of shit that I haven't seen in the world that I'll come to much, much, much later in life. And I appreciate like at about the 3 to 6 month mark, somewhere in there, it's on me to avoid the spoilers rather than it's on other people to not talk about it. Right. So at some point it becomes my responsibility to just look away or quickly click off or disappear if somebody's talking about something. But I'm going to give people that 3 to 6 months when it finally drops to Netflix or Prime Video, wherever it's going to hit. That's kind of when it's watched, right? So Top Gun, it is a great movie and also a lot of throwback to the original Top Gun. I don't know if I'd say it's a different movie than the original, but like so many things we see coming out, there's a heavy hitting part of nostalgia in that for the original experience. That's all I'm going to say about the movie itself. What was interesting for me about it is it's the first time I've been in a theater since all this shit happened.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
That was weird to me, and that was the longest I've been in one place with a crowd. Like we've gone to IKEA a lot. Oh my god, I've spent so much time in IKEA since the pandemic happened. They opened back up, but that's a moving crowd. Like people are going around in the process, right? Sure. This is sat in a theater with people. I did not have the 4DX experience. I'm jealous as hell of that in the comments. I did not have the the IMAX or the 3D experience because those are the things that make Christine motion sick. So we go see movies in normal screen and we sit in the back third of the theater. This is the compromise I accept in my married life, right? And it's okay. We have a lot of fun. I'm not complaining anymore. I'm old, but it was weird to consciously be sitting in a crowd that big. Like it was weird to go back and see what had held up in the theater, what hadn't held up. Something that depends on people showing up. Like how does that industry recover from it? It's a Regal theater, which one of the big chains of theaters out there. Regal is now offering basically monthly subscriptions to come see as many damn movies as you want. It's the old Movie Pass model, but the theater is doing it. It's a little more expensive, but I'm like, I respect that. You want butts and seats, and we used the hell out of that movie pass when we had it, right? So I'm like, how do I maybe that's something we need to sign up for in the process. Like, it's been a really good year for both of us, so maybe that's one of our gifts to ourselves, is how do we sign up for that movie pass and then just start showing up to theaters over and over. But am I really comfortable with being in crowds like that still? Christine, for those who don't know on the call, Christine has 8 stents holding her heart open, right? She is a heart disease patient. Love her to bits, but that's part of what made this whole pandemic situation just a little more cautious for us for a while. So we found our new normal. We went and watched the movie, had fun. We're vaccinated as hell. We'll continue to get boozed and all the things. But that was a good night. I can tell that I'm starting to slur my speech. The consonants aren't coming out as crisp. That means that the beer and the liquor is catching up with me. And I've still got a little bit of the stout and some more of the whiskey and 2 more cans to go. So,
Yeah,
all right,
you don't have to finish. You don't have to finish. Just to be clear, you don't have to finish everything. We're
fair,
okay with that.
drink responsibly.
Yeah, we don't
go.
finish.
But I know, and I appreciate that. But that's one of the things. Like, I will call my wife and talk to her as I'm leaving someplace, because she's going to listen for, am I slurring my speech or not? Even before I feel it, I start to slur the speech a little bit, and she'll tell me, "Yeah, maybe don't want to drive home." Only once in my life have I got into the car, started driving away from a friend's house, and realized as soon as I got up on the freeway in Texas, I really shouldn't be behind the wheel right now. And pulled my ass over into a grocery store, called home, and said, "You know how we keep telling Jason that he can call anytime when, he's gotten in trouble with friends and we'll come pick him up, no questions asked? I need to invoke that. Can y'all come get me?" And so the 2 of them got up late at night. To their credit, came out and picked me up. Christine drove my car back. Jason drove me back home. All things were fine. Jason was highly amused by that. I think the next day he was annoyed that night, but he was amused the next day. But that's the deal. And look, if you've got kids, if you've got friends, whatever you do in the process, buzzing the tower early. I love it.
I love how we got off of Top Gun too. That's great. Keep going.
No, but I mean, this is what safe and responsible is in the process, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm home for the night. I'm not going anywhere. I knew I was not going anywhere, right? So I'm gonna have some fun. I know anytime I go out with people, anytime I go out for work, I know my triggers, and I know who I call, and people know where I'm at in order to get me home safely in the process, right? I've gone to friends, and like close friends of ours, when I go over to there. So we got friends who are opening a brewery. I was hoping to bring some of their beer in tonight, but they don't have any batches ready to go yet. But I got friends opening a brewery here locally, right? And they know, like, I'll hand them my keys when I walk in the door. It's like, the slurred speech thing. Don't give me my keys back if I'm slurring my speech at the end of the night. And sure enough, they'll call me on it, right? Drink with friends. Keep that support network around you. Don't ever drink alone. I try not to, and that's why I made a rule with myself when I went to consulting. Like, I'm gonna have 1, maybe 2 drinks if I'm drinking by myself, because you start having 5, 6, 7 by yourself every night. Like that's just a depressing place to be. This is a social that I'm so excited about tonight, because I get to have drinks with my friends, plus everybody in the chat. Love you all. And it's so much more fun that way. Otherwise, when you drink it by yourself, you just have a couple drinks, and suddenly all your problems amplify themselves. Like, suddenly the world got so much worse. And it's about going, Greg. Like, interrupt me, please.
Recommend it?
Well, here's the problem. You didn't like the original Top Gun. So
recommend it.
I'm not sure. I loved the movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little heavy in the nostalgia, but we had watched the original Top Gun the night before just to kind of call it back to mind. I'm a fan of the movie. The book link I pasted somewhere back in the chat there. So okay. Before Dad 2.0 was when we all came together and saw each other. There was South by Southwest Interactive. Okay, this is how old I am. Like, when the internet was born and blogging became a thing, South by Interactive was the place to be. Now it's a massive festival with tens of thousands of people. Back then, it was a few hundred, maybe a couple thousand people. Like, it was small, but it was small people and all names you knew in the process. And so Kevin Smokler, the author of that book, is somebody I've known for 20 years as a close friend, in that same vein of friends that we've made through Dad, right? People I see once a year at a conference, or people see once a year at a thing, and then we keep up online through all the rest of these. I love Kevin to death. Kevin has written a love letter to 80s movies in the process. This is why I react, Greg, when you sit here and tell me that there was no good movies coming out of the 80s or very few.
I didn't say
Sorry,
there were
Doug.
none.
Yeah, Doug, get it right. Right.
Sorry.
I didn't say there were none.
But my friend Kevin is a wonderful author who's written books on the subject of the movies coming out of the 80s and the culture importance they bring in the process. Kevin's also got a great document out. I think it's called Vinyl America. You can find this online someplace. But talking about the importance of vinyl records and that sort of touch point. I can find links to this somewhere in the background if we need later on. But like Kevin is one of my favorite people in the world in San Francisco.
Hook us up and him and Doug could argue about it. It'd be great. Anyway,
so you got the book. I'll find the documentary later. We'll pull Kevin into this. He'll be mad at me for it later on, but that's all fine and good. I like wind me up and press go, Doug. Greg, I'm good to go.
Doug, what are you watching?
All right, so what I'm watching is something that if all of you remember, Adam Ruins Everything. This guy's Adam Conover, and he did a thing called the G word, and the G word is government. So he talks about different aspects. I've only gotten through 2 episodes. I got through food and weather. We're going to talk about money, future, disease, change. The fucking weather thing blew my brain because he talks about how things like AccuWeather privatize weather forecast distribution. Like places like NPR or like nonprofit places are not allowed to distribute. They're not allowed to have an app because of things like AccuWeather, because they would not allow a free place to have competition. It's fucked up. It's like that is about as capitalistic as you could fucking get. The food thing the food thing didn't surprise me. My wife certifies organic farms. I hear a lot of shit about the food industry. I know probably.
Wait. Your wife does what again? I did not know this.
She certifies organic farms, meaning like she goes to make sure they're following all the organic farming is a lot more stringent than regular farming. So I know a lot more about that stuff than I probably should. So that's
but I'm gonna talk to her, not you. Like I'm gonna move past you, Doug, next time I see her. Like this is fascinating.
Hey, I'm boring. She's way more interesting than I am.
I've tried to get Jill on this show a gazillion times. Doug already knows.
Yeah, but the thing is it's very much done like the Adam Ruins Everything without animation. But he actually gets in the food episode to a chicken processing plant or a meat processing plant, which they never allow people in there, ever. And he somehow was able to get in there. And that was it's just interesting because he's very funny and witty, but he's really fucking smart. He knows how to ask the right questions. It's not a big arc, but yeah. I've never not talked about you. I've talked about her a lot on this show, so it's not something worth this.
No, but I don't know how many times you mentioned organic farmer though. But
no, it's great. It's something she's passionate about, so it's good.
So, Doug, since you got Netflix up in the background, I think Mind of a Chef is on Netflix. It's either on Netflix or PBS. This is I can see David Chang's series of work. Okay. Yeah. So what I love about food documentaries in particular, David Chang has one, a few others have this about kind of cooking and the impact on life. What I love about that is how much you can learn culturally about people through their food. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these Netflix and others have this out there in the process, but it really gets you into learning about the world around you, but through the lens of what drove the food or what drives the culture or what is it really like in that process. And they're more than like, I just don't make time in my life to watch episodic shows anymore. I love The Mandalorian. I need to get into Obi-Wan. I just don't make the time. I'm watching Ghost in the Shell, the new series of episodic things in there, and so anime effects, not falling asleep by now. But food documentaries like that can be such a great way to actually unpack so much more philosophy than just recipes and cooking and what do I go do in the process. That's such a fascinating way for me to learn about people here in the process.
Yeah, it was great. That was great. Our guy Grady Black. So thanks, Grady.
Grady. Hey.
Well, look at that.
Ugly delicious. Thank you. Daniel, Ugly Delicious.
Welcome.
That's
Ugly
what I'm
Delicious.
thinking of.
Welcome.
So
Yeah,
shout out
yeah.
to Daniel for reminding me of that.
Can I go into drinking next?
What are you drinking?
Yeah, that would be great. I've been trying to advocate to throw my third beer out here for 30 minutes. So
Well, what are you drinking?
this, look at that can art.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so this is something from Seven Islands Brewery out of New York State. This is called the Sorcerer.
Damn.
It is Greg, you're going to love this. It's too bad Zach's not here. Salted caramel pecan pie inspired American stout. Also, I said pecan, so if you don't like that, you can fly a kite. I don't care.
It's pecan, but whatever. I'm not gonna argue
What?
with that.
Fucking Milwaukee. It's all about the bathrooms.
Doug, I have to. While you open that up, I just have to go back here real quick.
Yankees were going to win a World Series, but you had to give each other a hall pass. Would you do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, why do
Who
you
does she have to? Who does she have
You
to?
can pick anyone who you want. Who would you pick?
Anyone in the world? My ex-boyfriend?
Oh my God.
That never gets
Evil
old.
you know. The evil you know. Oh damn.
Who would you pick?
You.
Aw. I'm sorry. Why the ex-boyfriend?
We're gonna fight about this.
Why the ex-boyfriend? He's gone. You can tell me.
He was a good lover.
That poor dude. Cheers to that poor guy.
Doug, how is it? Because that was not nice.
No, so you're not getting a lot of that. You're getting the caramel off the nose, not too much. A little bit of pecan, but
Whoa.
all right. So this is super smooth. Like I was not expecting that. I was expecting it to be, pastry stout style.
Sweet.
But sweet, yeah, but definitely roasty and sweet together. Not like a sweet stout. That's a little too sweet. This is not like it's got a little sweetness. It's definitely a dessert beer. But it is, I don't think it's like super high in ABV. I think, it's 9%. So maybe that's a little higher, but
Okay, so riddle me this, Batman. What is a pastry stout? Question number one. And I got a second question after there, but answer that first. What do you mean by pastry stout?
So a pastry stout is basically like, all right, Greg, I'm going to say it's basically a dessert stout. Basically,
Okay.
and it sounds like they have dessert elements in it. Like some of the better examples of that, as Greg will attest to this, is Southern Tier makes a creme brulee stout that is fucking fabulous.
Okay.
But there's other ones that like they'll do like blueberry pie stout and like all these different variants where it's like a lot of sweetness into it. Diabetes is a good way to describe it too.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Got it. Okay.
and usually they're very high in sugar and high in ABV. Usually
They're usually stouts, and they usually have a lot of adjuncts in them. Kind of like what Doug was saying, like pecan pie,
Salted
Thanksgiving
caramel.
pecan pie, salted caramel, double chocolate blueberry.
Because I saw this when I
muffin.
was looking. I saw this when I was trying to pick things out for what to bring to this, but there was a lot of blueberries and raspberries, whatever, and things I'm not a fan of. So I didn't get into that sort of category of beers in the bottom corner of that cooler in there. But that's like for someone who doesn't drink a lot of beer, for all the reasons you talked about, I need to lower the carbs. I need to not maybe go so heavy in things. I need to moderate. This is why I tend to stick more to liquor instead of beer. But it's like craft beer has caused so many explosions and so many subcategories of things that I hadn't paid attention to. It's like pastry stouts. Like I love that name. I love the connotation of that. And so to learn about that here in the process, which by the way, I'm cracking up. I'm still working through the scotch, but we have Atlantic Brewing Company's Free Wave.
Oh, Free Wave, a nice NA, awesome.
Okay.
And non-alcoholic, because I had a feeling I might need to pace myself and drink responsibly. So in the spirit, this is even before you did the name change, I bought this, but in the spirit of everybody can love beers, including people who, for whatever reason, choose or want to consume non-alcoholic beers or don't want to partake in alcohol, welcome to the party. So I wanted to show up in here tonight with a non-alcoholic beer in the process, because I want the flavor and I want to participate, and maybe I don't need another alcoholic beer behind me in the process because we still got plenty of night to go and plenty of scotch to go. So we'll see how this goes.
Right.
This is I'm inserting this in the middle. I always want to insert this in the middle of the process. Jesus, I can't pour. So let's see how a hazy IPA goes. What makes a hazy IPA hazy? I wonder.
Ooh, a Maibach. I need to pick that one up from Athletic. I have a good amount of NA beers too, Mike. So
that's nice. Oh shit, that's nice.
They make really good stuff.
That's like really. There's like a lot of lemon and citrus in the front of that. Like it's not super bitter hoppy. It's super citrus hoppy. Oh, damn. Okay.
It's like a real beer, right?
So there's a lot of non-alcoholic beers that are real beers. I've seen non-alcoholic whiskeys on the shelf. I haven't been brave enough to try because I'm not entirely sure how you get from point A to point B there. Doug, is this worth investigating? Like
yeah, it doesn't taste like
it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't taste exactly like whiskey. They're botanicals, so they're trying to approximate the flavor of it. They don't get the depth of flavor because they can't, because it's not the same thing. But if you want to make cocktails like mocktails, fucking perfect. Like I have one that's a gin variant that's not gin, that's not alcoholic. That tastes, you could drink that by itself like as a gin. Like it's really good. I have a whiskey one, but the whiskey one has some smoky notes, but that's from like they use peppers to achieve that, so it's not the same. Okay. But like I think if you want something like we have our friend Matt Strain, who's not on tonight, but he's a recovering alcoholic. He does NA beers. He's actually a part of the Athletic flagship program. He does stuff with them, but he does stuff with like Monday Gin, and Monday is a pretty good one. The one we have is Optimist. So you get, but the great thing about that, you can get that stuff shipped to your house. You don't even have to go look for it. So like when it's NA, you don't have to go to a specialty store for it. You can just order it and they'll ship it to you. So yeah, if you're going to drink whiskey, you're not going to want to drink the whiskey.
Right. But cocktails, mocktails, shrubs, like there's a whole world of non-alcoholic drinks that play in the same settings. This is back to that inclusiveness thing I was talking about earlier. Like, how do I include the people who choose or can't drink in the process? Maybe, there's a medical reason, there's a religious reason, there's just a personal choice reason, whatever.
Or they're sober and they just don't want to. Like, whatever.
Recovering alcoholic. How many recovering alcoholics do we know? It's stunning to me how many people from my high school and college are recovering alcoholics. I'm like, did I miss out on something in high school that I should have been a part of? But somehow I'm like relatively normal in my grown-up adult life. I hope no one hears this later on. That didn't come out the way I meant, but I'm not going to change that later. But the point being, like, I support that, and I want to go meet people who are recovering alcoholics. I want to go have a quote drink, end quote. Like, I'll go have Topo Chico. I'll have a sparkling water with anybody any day long, because that's, it's
you're meeting them where they are.
It's about the community. It's about the sharing of things, right? Why do I not open a bottle of wine? Because I'm the only wine drinker in the house. Wine should be shared. So I'm going to crack that open with somebody in the process. But I'll just as equally have sparkling water or a mocktail or non-alcoholic beer with anybody in the process. So I love making that space for people who choose and want to do that. The Eagle Rare in moderation, I'm not sure how I love Eagle Rare in the flavor. It fell short for me. But okay, we got a beautiful little tequila bottle here. Tell me about this.
Nifty one. Look at the
little fuzzy.
I was going to say you're stroking the bottle already, Greg. Come on.
The bottle. That's nice. I've had the extra añejo of the stuff.
Great Posado there.
Which is that was pink. This one is clearly
Posado.
Yeah, and they have all that. So let's I'm a tequila guy, but I'm not really so much a Respirado guy. So the lady likes Respirado. This one smells pretty good.
So while you're pouring this, Greg, remind me Añejo versus Reposado. And I should know tequila being in Texas, but I don't really that well. Añejo is the older stuff, right? It's more aged.
It's aged in the oak barrels mostly. Whereas Respirado, I believe, is aged a little, but not in oak barrels. I know that our friend Daniel Fisher can, without a doubt, correct me on this one. And it makes your tequila a little bit. I mean, you can almost see through this. There is, I don't know, it's not coming through, but there is some color to that, Doug.
Yeah, but
Just a little
it's
bit.
light.
Just a
But
little
it's
bit.
light. But it's light.
Right.
You know, it is a bit transparent, but it's not like Blanco.
Right.
And
Dog.
CJ, baby.
Since
my
you said
guy.
that, I guess as I've watched the last few podcasts too, like shout out to Daniel Fisher in the comments. He's basically sort of fact checker and encyclopedia extraordinaire in here. Like I don't know where you found Daniel, but props to Daniel.
Yeah,
Daniel's
our guy, man. We love him.
I have truly been impressed by how fast he can come up with information at the fingertips.
Yeah,
so
he's our anti Zach.
Well, okay, that's all right.
we need him to balance Zach out. So
I love it. But no, much love to Daniel in there, and thank you for all you do. Yeah.
He's been on our show a few times too. So yeah.
Oh shit! I kind of need to go back in the archives to see this. See, this is what a bad guess I am. I haven't watched every single episode.
He gave us some anime knowledge at last episode. And I was like, you're talking way over my head because I don't know shit about anime. So.
Ghost in the Shell. If you do nothing else, ignore the live action Ghost in the Shell. Although I love it, I did enjoy it. We can talk about representation and why they cast Scarlett Johansson in there later. But the original animes and the series they've built underneath, it's so much. So this is the one episodic thing I've watched as we're talking about it. Ghost in the Shell, SAC. What is this? I can't remember. It's cerebral. Like it's the kind of thing that's a little, you got to pay attention to it. There's a lot of suspense. There's a couple real trips in the process here that you go through. But it's a classic anime in the process, and I love the world they've created around it to get into. So
what was
Standalone Complex.
Daniel,
Standalone Complex. Props to you for reminding me of that. Well done. The original Standalone Complex is absolutely amazing. So it was originally an anime series that they created a movie of, an anime movie of that was brilliant. And years later, this is like the reboot of the thing. They brought out Standalone Complex, and it's become a couple movies and then an ongoing series on Netflix in the process. All of them are amazing. But when they brought Standalone Complex back, it was so modern and so intricate in the plot lines and what they wove together and surprised people with. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So that I'm making time for.
Boom.
What was that face you made a bit ago there, Greg? You like, what was that?
What this? Oh, the Respirado. It's pretty good, Doug. It's not. Again, I'm looking for that oaky wood taste at the end of my tequilas, and if it doesn't have that, then I'm just disappointed. So you can call me a tequila snob in this way. I just know what I like. And
well, but that's interesting. You like the wood notes in the tequila rather than the younger blanket tequilas in there. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And you got to pay more for that, Mike. So that's where I call myself a little bit snobbish because I'm just willing to pay more to, do that. Whereas the lady likes this. She likes Respirados better than she likes Añejos because I think she don't like the smoky taste. And give me that.
It's the difference between a stripper and an escort. Let's be honest. But anyway,
right.
But this is a funny thing. So Black Mirror was a social phenomenon I could never get into. And to be fair, I didn't try hard, but it was one of those that I love it. So many people loved it. Game of Thrones is one of the. I've never actually watched an episode of Game of Thrones. I'm going to be honest.
Neither have I. On my list, though.
Well, it's on my list too. But what I love about what's happened in the last couple of years is so many of these shows become very quick cultural phenomenons in the process, right? Like it's suddenly in the zeitgeist. It's suddenly something we're all talking about because we're still all. I'm going to bet we're still all largely at home. Like I don't know, Doug, Greg, or you. I work from home 4 days a week. I'm in the office 1 day a week now, and that's
I'm in 5 days a week. I don't even go into the office.
So what we do to watch TV, what we do to nest and set up the world around us, this is finally a live plant here behind me. Actually, that one too is a live plant. So the short version of our pandemic story. Christine was a business coach for photographers. I was working for a consulting company. I still am. she realized her business had gone from how do I grow my business to how do I put food on the table for my family. And she started to have, one, she didn't know how to answer that. Two, she didn't ethically want to take money from people in the process in the early 2000s when this was all going sour. So for a variety of reasons, she shuttered her business and then got into houseplants. Okay. I had no idea houseplants was such a subculture out there
Oh, it is
until I met
huge.
plant people in Houston. It's massive. We spawned a plant market in our driveway. My apologies, but it all happens every month here in Houston in the process. It just happened in our driveway. It was great fun. And it's great characters, it's great people. And for the longest time, that was a fake tree that I bought at IKEA for a project. So we went from having no house plants in here to 150 plus plants that she looked after. But the one that was behind me in every video call was the fake one from IKEA. Finally, we're back to real plants in the background in the process. But after a year of the pandemic, I'm sitting here in the back room of the house. We live in a small 1,300 square foot bungalow. There are no doors in half the house. I'm loud on the phone. I mean, louder when I'm drunk. I'm loud on the phone. Yeah, I'm a fraud. Yeah, no, it was. People complimented me on how well that plant lived. It was great. After a year of that, she said, "You know what? We really need to fix something because I'm going to kill you. I'm locked in the bedroom all day long. I can't stand this stress. I can't do that." It was a particularly bad project I was on at the time. We ended up, very long story, very short, renting an apartment, leasing an apartment that's a mile away from here. A little studio apartment, smallest one we could find in the complex. Turns out it's half the size of the house. My only contribution in this process was, well, let's go look at the one that has the Total Wine right outside the front door. So there's a liquor store that I could walk to from the apartment, winning, and a Kroger and a Target all right there. We looked at WeWork, we looked at co-working spaces. When you added up parking and downtown and lunches and everything else, it got close to apartment money. So that's where Christine is right now. She's in the office apartment. Which is, like I said, 5 minutes down the road. But this is how we work. This is how we live. This is a great thing for us in the process. It gives us that little bit of space. It gives us all the amenities of having an apartment. We've debated, do we sell the house and take advantage of the market and just move into the apartment? But that's its own complicated story throughout.
Well, then you lose the separation space. And some people need that shit.
Yeah, so I was in the apartment for the better part of the year. We rented it last February. I was in the apartment until this January. We came back for Christmas, and for her work, she said, maybe I need the isolation of being in the apartment. So I got uninstalled from the apartment. We installed her in January, and I'm back at the house. So it's like, okay, I've got a better desk set up here than I had for a standing desk there, but I've lost some of the isolation and the simplicity of having the apartment. But this is how we solved it, right? And this is back to that inclusiveness and different working styles of what we do and working from home and everything. It's so fascinating to me to see how different people have solved for working. How have we solved for this work from home life? Like, how have we solved for not cratering our relationship, not cratering our home life, and how have we made space for these things?
You're right, Daniel.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I'm very lucky and very blessed that we've both been doing well. She's now working for a startup company that does AI-based culling software for photographers. So she exited a workforce for a while and has come back in full force. But we're lucky that we're able to pull something like that off. It's not an option in New York City. My God, the rent is through the roof. The housing market is insane right now. Inflation is insane right now, right? Move with the military every 2-3 years. Props and thank you for your service, or thank you for someone's service in the process of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm watching the comments come through. And it's like, how have we all learned to navigate that and navigate creating that kind of workspace where we would have had an office before, we would have gone in or a place of business or whatever we all do, right? It's just really interesting. But for me, we can talk about inclusiveness in terms of racial diversity, in terms of ethnic, in terms of religion, whatever.
Gender.
But just working styles and family situation is a huge topic to come together on and learn, right?
Y'all always have been practical though. Like, I remember when I met y'all had practical and out of the box thinking for your own relationship more than a lot of traditional people, and that's why I probably said to y'all at one point that y'all are relationship goals, because y'all understand each other's weaknesses, and you play off of them instead of butting with them. There's a little bit of butting, but from my opinion, I see a little bit of butting, but I see more like once y'all butt, y'all realize that, hey, there's something that we could do about this. And then y'all come together, put your minds together, and then y'all think of, and I can tell that y'all don't like leave anything out of the solution area. You know what I mean? Like, we're married, we're going to be together. Outside of that, there's almost no rules about how y'all think. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all in it for the long haul with each other. I've heard literally this from your mouth, but at the same time, y'all have an idea about, if that's your goal, if your goal is to be together forever, then that opens up a lot of different areas that I don't think people who, are married, who have the same goals, think that way. You know what I'm saying?
I do. So first thing I want to do, because I can't figure out how to work this, or maybe I don't have the right permissions, whatever last comment came through in the process, much tougher job being a stay-at-home dad than anything else I've ever done. I want to highlight that and call that out, right? And you guys will know that we're all passionate about this, but being a stay-at-home dad is a hell of a lot harder than it looks on paper, right? This is a full-time career, a full-time job, and props to you for taking that on, right? So thing number one. Thing number two, I love it. So let's paint the picture. Christine is about 8.5 years my senior. And Jason, like I said, was 10 when we met, 12 when we married. He's 30 now, which is his own line. Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
And so it's 20 years ago when we met. It's 18 years ago we got married, right? So I said at my brother's wedding, I said a handful of things. I still hold them to be true. Number one, I had a professor in college who said, I've had 47 wonderful years with my wife. And 47 out of 50 is not bad. And you stop and think about that for a minute. I'm like, that's really, like, I was 20 something when I heard that. I'm like, I gotta hold on to that. I'm gonna use that someday. That's really good. I had a coworker of mine who was towards retirement tell me, you know what, the secret to my happy marriage is my husband and I have never wanted a divorce at the same time. Okay. Legit.
Okay.
You can work through these things, right?
Right.
The third thing I say, and it comes back to Christine and I. We talk about marriage sometimes as I get married or I am married, like it's a state. No, it's something you build. A marriage is something you build every damn day, right?
Yeah.
You get up every day, you figure out what this is. Neither one of us is going to let the other go without a fight. So we're both basically sort of reasonably locked into this thing because we know it's going to be ugly if we try and get out in the process. And I say that, and I know who I'm talking to. Like I say that not to diminish divorce or people who've exited marriages in the process. It's a thing, right? You get up every day, you choose to be married. Sometimes people move in different directions, and you unpack yourself in the process, and your life changes, and you move on from that. And I love all of that. But it's one of those things where it's not just like I have a marriage and okay, tick the box, I'm done. I can think about something else in the process. It's something you go do every day until it's not true to who you are in the process, right? And then please, like if I ask anything in the world, I had friends who were victims of infidelity. I'll put it like that, right? I consider that to be a symptom rather than a cause. Okay, if you've gotten to that point, it means somebody didn't deal with the problem or unpack or unentangle themselves from a relationship to do things in the right order. You know what I mean? So this is what I believe. Like if you're at a point where you're at a breaking point, take a minute, deal with the hard stuff, and unentangle yourself from that situation before you get yourself in another situation. And if you find yourself in another situation, I'm dispensing advice 3 years in, and that's not an alcoholic. But if you find yourself in another situation, figure out how the hell you got there, because you need to figure out what you're actually dealing with and what you're actually running from, or you're actually tangling into in the process, right? Because it's under the surface. The other thing I would say is our lives are not black and white. Our lives are not good and bad. Something can end and not invalidate the good parts of it in the process.
Yes.
We have
Yes.
good and bad. We have great days and bad days. So just because something ends, whether it's sudden and surprising, whether it's not, that doesn't invalidate all the good feelings and the good times, the goodwill you had in the process of that in life, right? I'm still 18 years married. It's still work every day. It's still fun work that I put myself into every day. I've been blessed that both of us are committed to that. And this is how I go forward. But I've seen so many other people, you all know many of them, who've gone through divorce at different stages in their life, whether it's 3 years in, whether it's 30 years into a marriage, right? It can happen at any time. So, and no shade on any of that, right? Like my hardest phrase. I'm completely monologuing. Neither of you are stopping me. My hardest phrase is someone who talks.
We're waiting for a gap in the conversation. That's all. Go.
I'm not going to shut up. You have to talk over me. It's that New Orleans blood. There was an article written in a New Orleans paper about how basically if my family gets together at dinner, it's a constant din. Okay, and I'm going to keep going. So you just got to stop me at some point in the process. But it's one of those things where you keep showing how abundantly you're going to way more welfare than anybody. Then props. I hope this lands well with somebody who's listening to this in the process, right? I'm going to pause for a second. How's that?
Doug, here's your in.
All right. So I'm going to say this. So this is my second marriage, and my second marriage is way easier than my first one. Way easier. Because I look at people who says, I guess this is judgmental on my part, and I know it is. People who do the marriage is work, and they make it sound like a fucking job. And if it's a job, maybe you need to communicate more, or something's wrong, or you need to figure shit out, right? You can go, well, I wake up every day and I choose to be married and I do that, and that's great. That is a conscious choice you're making, and if you're both committed to that, kudos. My first marriage, I got 2 kids out of it. It was a mess, but I got 2 great kids out of it, and looking back, I go, I got 2 freaking great sons out of that, and I can't. Yeah, it was not great for me on some levels, and I'm sure it was not great for her on a lot of levels, but we had 10 years. And I think as humans, we get too deep into this sort of idea that the ideal is forever, whatever that may be, whether it be your job, whether it be your marriage, whether it be this. Everything has to last forever. Everything's got to be till the death do you part. Hey, if you get 10 years with somebody, whether it be friendship, marriage, that's fucking awesome. Like,
yeah,
we live for, like, our lifespans are 70 to 80 years. If you get a 7th of your life with this person and you got good things out of it, what is wrong with that? Why is that a bad thing? And if it's just like, this just doesn't work for me and it doesn't work for you, why are we doing this? That's not a problem. Now, again, some people think that, like, for me, my life is not something that I want to wake up every day and wonder what I'm walking into. As in, like, what am I walking into with my partner? If I'm walking into it, I don't know if it's going to be World War III or it's going to be a good day. That's not good for me. Mentally, that is not good for me.
Right.
I wake up every day and I know exactly where Jill is, and Jill knows exactly where I am. And we don't have to. Now, we talk all the time. We discuss a boatload of shit. Nothing is off limits. And that's not work to me. That's communication. That's just you going and saying, this is how I feel. How do you feel? And you have to be willing to step your fucking ego back and hear what they're saying. Sometimes it's really hard because sometimes they're critiquing something that you don't think is a problem, but it's clearly a problem for them. And if you love that person, you're going to be willing to listen. And maybe you need to take corrective action, or you need to compromise, or you need to figure something out that works. That's not work. That's not work. The idea of you instituting the idea of work into your relationship really, really bothers me.
Okay. Then let me walk back some of the phrasing, and I appreciate that.
No. That's just my view. I'm not saying what your view is wrong.
No. But it's fair. It's commitment more than work. Okay, let me phrase it differently there in the process. Okay, it's because someone said this on Twitter somewhere. Like if you have to convince someone to stay, maybe you shouldn't be working so hard to convince them, right? Which is just a throwaway comment at the time, and I see if they reply back to me on Twitter. It's doing the work on yourself. Okay. So I'm gonna impose on you, Doug, and you tell me if I got this wrong. 10 years of marriage is some great times, some rough times. You've come out better into a second marriage that you can tell me is easier. I'm going to tell you you are more skilled than you were the first time around.
That's
because
fair.
you have learned
Mhm.
and you have learned self-awareness in the process of that. I have been challenged to learn self-awareness. Christine and I have well-worn arguments. Holy shit. If I took this camera back and showed you the work environment I live in right now, one, she'd kill me. So I'm not going to. But we organize in two very fundamentally different ways. We were talking about this last week. For Christine, things need to have a home, and that home needs to be put away behind someplace so that she minimalizes her visible clutter. Okay, she needs to have kind of nice, clean environments around her where everything is put away. She knows where they are, but they're put away. This drives me the hell up a wall because my workspaces need to be functional, and I need things close at hand. I need to see them. If I put something in a drawer because that's where it's gone away, I have no idea where it is. So I have brought, in case we went to coffee, because I can still go there, I brought one of the weirdest coffee devices I had just in case. It's called a Bright. How we may as well do this while I'm here in the process. It is, because I'll use this as an example. This is effectively literally a crack pipe for coffee. Okay. This is a little copper thing of coffee with a cork band, and there's a little metal filter inside there. You pour a little bit of coffee in, you pour a bit of water in there, and then it got a four burner butane torch that you light this thing up. It's like if you're camping, you light this thing up and boil the water in there a couple times. So you get coffee and the grounds stay in there, and you suck it through the straw, and away you go. It's a lot of fun. It's completely gimmicky. It's not a great cup of coffee, but it's absolutely bizarre. And I find it one of the weirdest things in the world. Why am I not making a Bright right now? Because somewhere I have the butane fuel for this thing, and I have no idea where it is because I put it in a drawer or a cabinet, and I could not freaking find it before I got on this webcast tonight because it's out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
I need to see my shit so that I know where my shit is, so that it's close at hand in the places where I need it. But this is not how Christine organizes. That's visual clutter. That is noise in her life that actually viscerally makes her feel bad. This is a well-worn argument that we go through back and forth all the time. It's not an argument that's going to break us. It's an argument that we know how this is going to play out. Anytime we get in the fight, we know how it's going to play. It's like you go through the motions over and over. Joys of marriage. But that's when I talk about the work of it, that's what I'm talking about. That communication and that willingness to sort of be a bit vulnerable, listen to the other person, put your ego to the side, and go through that in the process. But I am also a big fan of when the marriage is not right, walk, like let it go. Like there are so many people in life who are trapped in marriages for a variety of reasons in there. And that pains me because I'm not such a proponent of marriage as the right way to go. You all chart your own damn life. You want to get even better? Chart your own life in terms of do you want to have kids? Do you not want to have kids, etc. I'm a step parent. Christine refers to her previous husband as the beta marriage, right? Because it trained her, and then a relationship trained her, and then here we are in the process, right? Jason just is a wonderful human being. We talked about having kids ourselves. We tried having kids ourselves. Then we realized Jason's 16. What the hell are we doing? We're almost to the end game here, right? Like really? Do we want to be doing this now? And so we took a different tact, and then things took a different tact, and it's a whole other story for another time. She talks about it, so I don't mind bringing. She talks about it, so I don't mind bringing it up. But it basically amounted to emergency hysterectomy and a really funny story. So, Manny, good mojo on a potential new job coming. Someone highlight that comment. All the best blessings, all the best wishes I can give you in the process. Look,
Manny.
We're in such a bizarre time in such a bizarre world. All I can do is hope people chart and navigate the things for themselves, and wish good luck for them in the process. Right? Like,
Amen.
This is such a weird time and such a weird place to be in. I really hope people find their footing underneath them or continue to be successful. This year was a promotion year for me at my job, which came through a few weeks ago. Like that was a huge, huge milestone for me in my career. So I wish all the best on all of our community, that you find the things you love, you find things you want to do in life, in work, in whatever else. Cheers to you all, you beautiful bastards. And Bastardettes. I don't know. We got to figure that out. Tell me about Hillsborough beer. Stop me talking.
Don't sweat it.
Yeah, vanilla bean milk stout. Nice vanilla, Doug. Sweet.
Sweet.
Sweetie. Sweetie though. Yeah. Little bit of roast, more sweet than I would like out of a milk stout, but that's the vanilla though. Vanilla has that aspect of it. Is you can't add a little vanilla, Mike. You can, but vanilla's big.
Vanilla
It's a big
overpowers
flavor.
this up. Is a milk stout actually milk, or is it milk solids?
It has lactose added.
Okay, so it's milk sugars. Okay, got it. All right.
Yeah, and it gives that mouthfeel, a more fuller mouthfeel than you would get out of like a porter or something like that. So,
all right,
Doug, what do you got, Doug?
Well,
what's going on there?
Yeah, sorry, my son was giving me a high five or a low five at the time. So.
Oh, I thought you were smacking someone.
No, he was like
swatting someone away.
Bring a face in the room. High five to the kid. But okay, fine.
Oh, he's been on camera.
Fair enough. Okay,
it's fine. So I picked up. I grabbed an interesting scotch that I've had in my house for about 4 years. This is Balvenie Peat Week.
Ah, nice.
So Balvenie, I really love it. It's not a peaty scotch. Normally, their double wood is sweet, really oaky, really delicious. But this is a variant they make, and it's only a short run of barrels that they do. They do a peat week every year. This one is 20 years old now. So
nice.
The story for this, Mike, though, is this is a $150 bottle of whiskey that I found in a bargain thing for $50.
Love it. Love that. I want to hear more about that. I'm going to challenge Daniel as our master of the lore. Balvenie, is this Speyside? Is this Highland? Which of the 5 different Scotch regions is Balvenie?
I'll let Daniel answer that because I know.
Look at you, because he knows.
I do.
Yeah. I'm dealt
he
with
knows.
I got a bottle down here I'm going to bring up for you in a minute here. But first up, since we're talking, let me crack the last one.
Troubadour.
Brazos Valley Troubadour American Stout Bourbon Barrel Aged. Also felt on brand for me in the process. Barrel aged can go one or two different ways for me. Barrel aged can be really nice in terms of the sweetness you get from the bourbon.
You are right, Daniel.
There we go, my man. Speyside. Okay, got it. Barrel aged can go really bitter in terms of the oak notes it brings. So this is a mystery thing for me. Greg, what are you going with here? Hang on, tell me about this. Tell me about this reaction.
You by your own admission, you don't drink that much beer. By your own admission, y'all, you have some cocktails here and there. You and the lady go out, but you're not an everyday drinker. You're going to. That's what I'm saying. Oof. Tomorrow morning is going to be.
That's going to be a high gravity thing. So yeah.
Right. So when you say barrel age, okay. I mean, not too horrible.
No, for a bourbon barrel, that's actually kind of low.
Right, but Doug, combined with everything, we've been slaying lately, Doug. Like we had a period there, Mike, where Doug and I, again, we were coming off our heart conditions and all that stuff. So we were Doug was drinking.
Wait. I know about Doug's heart condition. Okay, finish your thought, and I want to come back to your heart. Hang on, is your heart something I need to worry about?
Yeah, well, yeah. Long story short, we kind of, I wouldn't say a law on the stream. We weren't just drinking at the rate that we were. But lately, we've had you on. Last week we had Mac, who had a 24.6 alcohol per volume beer.
That's a beer. That's a liqueur.
It was outrageous. We had Zach that wanted to drink his whole liquor store in one episode. So we've had some big drinkers on, and you have just continued that. So what is going on with that barrel age?
I'm out. Yes, what's going on here? there's a lot of raisin sweetness in this. Hang on, did I get that right?
Okay. I don't know if
there-
that sounds. I hate raisins, Doug.
What is this? It's God, it's a Christmas candy.
But I can deal with raisins. I like raisins, the raisiny part of a Baltic porter. I love the raisins when you get out of like a double, Doug. I like raisins.
Have you had a legitimately good fruitcake before?
No.
Does that shit exist?
Yes, it does. But okay, but that's not going to give you the anchor in here. There's spice, but there's sweetness, and there's kind of crushed nuts at the same time. There's candied raspberries, kind of thing.
Yes.
Like it's a little bit of that jammy sweetness back here. A lot of that sort of tannicness from the wood that I can get through this. It's not so vanilla forward. Jesus, that's good. Or I've had enough to drink that I can't taste it anymore.
Do you taste the barrel? You taste the bourbon?
Usually you get it as a boozy note, really, like heavy.
What I get is that no, I don't. I don't get that. And I don't get the like, I don't like big tannic red cabernets, you know what I mean? Like I don't like the bitterness from the wood. This is why Christine's very particular in how she drinks. We're talking about my wife again, but she's a super taster. So all of this tastes just like wood and dirt and things to her in the process. Jose Cuervo and she get along, but that's a different story. But I'm not getting any of that bitterness. Yeah, I'm getting sweetness from this, but what I'm getting from the barrel is that kind of jammy note in the process. Like that's the barrel note coming through. Like that's incredibly well balanced in there for how long they've aged it and decided to pull it out of the barrel. Do you guys know if you age beer in a barrel, do you taste it periodically to decide where to pull it out? Like I would.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They can. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Mike, they blend too. So they'll take
shit. Okay.
They'll take maybe some of the original base beer and blend it to get that balance that they're looking for. That sounds sometimes they just don't take it out. Sometimes they do, but sometimes there's a blend. They won't tell you that.
Blended. I would buy that this is blended because it brings a lot of that kind of barrel characteristic forward without hitting you too hard in the barrel, without hitting you too hard in the booze, without hitting you too hard in kind of those sherry sweet notes in the background. Like that's really well done. But it's on that kind of raisiny, kind of candied cherry sort of back end note. God, what am I thinking of that you eat? It's not a fruitcake.
Man, okay.
But candied fruit.
Sounds like it.
Candied fruit is very much what I'm getting out of this thing.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Not in the sugary way so much. Like there's a little bit of sugariness, but more the fruit than the sugary. Damn, that's good.
All right. Okay. Doug, did you give tasty notes for your? Did you pour yours back already?
No, I'm still. This is a sipper because Scotch, and but the thing is, it's got all the Speyside notes, and it just has the hint of peat. It is not overly peaty. Whereas when you get the ones that are more from your Islays, the Islays are darker because of the peat. This is this is all like Balvenie Doublewood, and CJ texted me. He has a Balvenie 14-year Caribbean cask. I'm like, man,
shit.
That sounds awesome. This is like, again, it's got all the soft notes of the Speyside with just some peat in it just to give it a little bit of kick. Super, super delicious. This is really good. Like, listen, I can't do charcuterie boards anymore because of the fucking smoked meat stuff. But like, my word, this would be really good with cheese and just like.
The smoked meat set you off? Hang on. What do you mean by that?
Well, I can't do a lot of processed meats like if you're gonna do stuff like prosciutto and like put that stuff on the board. I can't have much of that because of sodium levels because of my
and cheese.
So let me pause and call something out here in the process. This is really fascinating living with Christine in the process. Heart disease presents so differently in men than it does women.
Yep, very much so.
So much of the stereotype we think of, that tightness in the chest, the pain in my left arm, etc. That's how it presents in men.
The women,
it's in the back, It feels like heartburn. It feels like something in your shoulder blades. It's something so, so, so different. And we're just beginning to realize how different it presents. So Christine's story, we knew like she was winded walking uphill and things. She was winded walking uphill off of a jet ramp, off of a plane to come back into the airport. That was when her doctor was like, you need to go have an echocardiogram, right? Like, go have your heart checked out. We're trying to rule out asthma and other things in the process. So this wasn't something we were looking at. We just said, okay, we'll rule this out however many years ago, right? She goes in for a 45-minute echocardiogram where they go do and like run the balloons and take a look at you in the process. I don't remember all the words right now. After an hour and a half, they come out to me and tell me in the waiting room that she's doing really well. It'll just be a little bit longer. Okay. Like, all right, this is abnormally long. Doctor comes out at 2 hours and basically tells me your wife has a really diseased heart. So what we found is that she had blockages in arteries at like 95, 98%, 100% blocked in her heart. They had to put 4 stents in to hold it open, right? So it was great for me because there was no worry. I found out after they had fixed it that this was a problem, right? It was only those 2 hours I worried about it. You deal with it in the meantime in the process. Then she had restenosis, which means they're starting to clog up the ends of the stents. So they put in 4 more stents in the process. There's 8 stents holding her arteries open in the process, right? Mm-hmm. But heart disease presents so differently for women, and Christine's been a staunch advocate of that ever since. Mm-hmm. There's a cocktail of medications she's on in the process. We'll always be chasing and tweaking them. I was going to say, Doug, you know these things. I think offline, you and I can compare notes on what you take versus what Christine takes, because I'm actually kind of curious, like how individual it is in the process. But it's you're permanently medicated for it here in the process, right? Mm-hmm. But I want to call that out because it's so unknown that heart disease is so different between people, and heart disease is the #1 killer of people, like ahead of cancer, ahead of everything. Cancer just has better PR. Okay, make a wish and the PR process in the process. Heart disease is such an important thing. Yay, Zach. Yeah, we're talking heart disease. Like think about that in the people in your life. Yeah, think about it where you go. What I'm gonna pour in the process, not because this beer deserves it, but because Doug is talking about one of his fancy beers. I'm gonna pull out the Glenfiddich 18.
It's a good one.
Right. So this is interesting. Given how much I love Isla Scotches and peaty Scotches, Glenfiddich 18 is definitely not that. What is this bottle of Scotch? Okay, someone highlight Lauren's latest comment because I'm just having a holy shit moment in there.
That doesn't surprise me because that's medical shit for women is fucking terrible.
It really is. It really is. It really is. The Glenfiddich 18 is what I want myself because I'm getting promoted this year. Right? Like it happened June 1st, major milestone in my career. So I said I'm going to go out and buy a bottle of Scotch that I'm never going to buy for myself otherwise, right? Like I've bought those $15 and $20 and $30 bottles of whiskey all the time. I love something I don't feel bad about. But if I'm drinking with you guys, I thought I'd bring the good shit to bear in the process. So this is a Speyside. I think it's a Speyside. It's definitely floral. Sure. It's definitely not peaty like the Islas are in the process. But this is my celebration bottle of Scotch. Everyone should have a celebration bottle of whiskey here in the process too, right? Like for all those times in your life, you need to say, pat yourself on the back, say congratulations.
Yes.
Whatever your drink is.
Yes.
Right? And like seriously, that can be sparkling water. I don't care. Make it a bottle of Fiji water because that's just expensive, right? But celebrate yourself in the process, and celebrate everybody here in the chat who've had milestones in their life, who've made it through the day, who've made it through the week. Cheers to you all, you wonderful bastards, right? And so this bottle of Glenfiddich is what I ended up with the day I got promoted and found out that happened. It was the first time I got promoted since I joined my company, right? So 5 years I've been an experienced hire. I've been at this level. I got promoted, so I finally was able to celebrate that process this year. So it was like, all right, this is how I'm going to treat myself in the process. Let me go find a random bottle of Scotch that sounds good, that's way more money than I ever spent on a bottle of whiskey, myself, right? So whether it's whiskey, whether it's tequila, whether it's beers, whatever, cheers to all you bastards for navigating this life, and find something to celebrate with.
Yes.
I don't know if y'all. I had so for me it was a bottle of Blanton's. When I turned 21, Zach, there's a lesson in celebrating the small victories that are important to all the rest of us. That I like about what you do in the life. Anyway, I bought a bottle of Blanton's when I was 21, back in 2000, because you can still get it. It was the most money I spent on a bottle of whiskey. $50, I think it was. It was the most money I spent on a bottle of whiskey anywhere. That bottle of whiskey lived with me until I turned 40. Okay, that was my special occasion bottle of whiskey from 21 to 40. And it came out when I got married. It came out when my brother got married. So here's what I learned, Doug. By the time it got to 40, it really hadn't aged well. There was a little bit left in the bottle that has sat there in the bottle for a long time. It's like that last drink was really not that good. Props to Mad Dog. Props to the Mad. Look, I'm not going to decry anybody's budget. Mad Dog is your budget for what you go out and celebrate with. Rock your damn self out. Hang on. There is no shame for what you like here to drink in the process. You like it. If that's your celebration, props to you in the process.
We shame people for only food here.
Yeah, I would like to point out that the idea that you buy a bottle of whiskey, for instance, whiskey specifically, it doesn't age anymore in a bottle. It's already done all its aging. It's just what it is. Yeah. And this bottle I have is 20 years old, but it was aged for 14 years. 14 years is where it's done doing aging.
It's really good.
They just put it in a bottle. That's all it is. And
this is the problem I have with Texas whiskeys, right? So you're right. Once it's in the bottle, once it's in the glass, it's done. The problem I have with the Blanton's is it was 90% gone, and that last 10% of that bottle sat there exposed to air for years. And the cork had dried out, and like all kinds of problems with it. So the last of it was a token of what it is and how it went. Texas whiskeys, I struggle with. And maybe you guys can tell me if beers are the same way. I struggle with Texas whiskey because the climate is so hot. What I love about Scotch whiskey, what I love about Kentucky bourbon, the climate, the whiskey is soaking into the barrel and then coming back into the barrel, soaking into the wood, coming back into the barrel, soaking in, coming back out. So seasonal changes matter to how whiskey ages over many years. Houston has 2 seasons. It's either hot or it's hot and wet. Like take your pick. It's either one of those shitty seasons.
Or on the rare occasions, it's an ice storm.
For a week out of the year. So we don't get those kind of cyclical climates. So Texas whiskeys, I have found, age much more quickly in that regard. But at the same token, they become much more harsh because they pulled so much of the wood out and haven't had the long time to drive that. I don't know if beer is the same way. You guys tell me. But with whiskey aging, the climate really kind of works against you in Texas whiskeys for all I care.
Yeah, I don't know. See, it's a little different with beer, in that you usually cellar it. You have to cellar it and put it in a cellar fridge at 55 degrees. Some do it at 50. Some do it standing upright, and some do it laying down. You're supposed to stand it up, apparently, and I have a fridge where I lay them down. I get yelled at, so because then the sediment.
I did not know that. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So apparently I'm doing it wrong. So, but what's interesting about aging stuff, I imagine, Greg, that must go really well with your 400-degree wings.
I will never find out. Go on,
Can I comment that roast wings are a thing and are really delicious? They're just not barbecue wings. They're not fried. They're a different thing. But 400-degree wings, I can respect that.
Smoked wings are fantastic.
I can do air fried wings, which is much better for me, and they actually turn out really well if you do them right.
So what I love is sous vide. If you sous vide a wing, you can get it cooked all the way through, and then you just flash fry it at the end for whatever it needs to become.
Okay.
I've cooked the wing to exactly. So sous vide I love because you can set exactly the temperature and the texture and the time that I want something to be at. I got a couple sous vide machines behind here. It's badass when I take a minute and think about my dinner 2 days in advance.
We have to.
Okay, what do you have? Which two do you have?
We have those long cylinder looking
Yeah, but which ones? There's about 5 of them that you can pick from. Do you remember?
Avana or something like that. Avana.
Okay.
Avana.
One he got from Avon.
I've got a Jewel. So what I've got over here is I've got a Sancerre, which was a Kickstarter thing from a guy in Seattle who knew a lot about food, and basically was one of the first people that took the professional circulator from Polyscience and collapsed to a home environment. I love it, but it's kind of too big. I'm looking to get rid of it if anybody wants it. And then I've got a Jewel from Chef Steps. And the Jewel is nice, it's small, it's controlled by a smartphone, it's tiny, it fits in a pot. I can do things for 1 or 2 people in the process. And the only reason I don't do it more is that it requires me to be way more.
Anova.
Fuck you, Zach. Anova. I love Anova. Anova's one of the big ones in the process, right?
Right.
I'm not sure we can post that one, but we should.
I don't know. We can't.
We're 2.5 hours in. Why not?
What, this?
Yeah, that one.
Right.
I mean, the things it's done to a rolled up piece of pork belly, I get it. There's something incredibly phallic about that, but at the same token, I had, shall we say, a me moment with my food that's come out of the food circulator in the process. But I'm not being dick or an asshole to my food circulators.
Okay. Sous vide, I refuse to eat my steak otherwise. In there, sear, done, over. It's perfect. It's great.
You can, so for everybody in the chat, you can sous vide a steak with hot water from your sink. With a 1 inch or less steak, you can get the hottest water you can from your sink. I love it. Fill that up in a cooler and drop your steak in a Ziploc bag, sealed so no air in the bag.
Yes.
Into that hot water from your sink. Yeah. Give it 45 minutes, I think it is. Yeah. And you will sous vide a steak with just the hottest water you can get from your sink. Right? If you want the most basic way to figure out sous vide for a steak, you can pull that off. We can find links for this later on.
Sear that
it's
shit.
A wonderful thing.
Sear it, and it's done.
There you go.
Some chimichurri, Doug. Just telling you, it's just good. Doug doesn't want to do any sauce though, so I'm bugging him with the chimichurri.
Somewhere in here, you guys have hidden and shown everybody from camera. Can you take me off camera for 2 seconds?
Hey, at the bottom, there's a stop camera thing too. You could do that. Yeah. I don't that sous vide stuff. I don't do any of that. That sounds like a lot of work.
Oh my god, it's the complete opposite. It's fucking great, Doug. It's not. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It's not a work at all. The work is to put it in that bag. But once you put it in the bag, Doug, it goes to so. What do you and Joe like? Medium rare. You just go by temperature. So if you like medium rare, it will just put it at medium rare, and then it will sit there. This is how a lot of steaks are made at steak places, Doug. I found this out, and that's why I got a sous vide. Because a lot of steak places do that. Because people are like, well, how do they make a steak? How do they make how can you make a steak on demand for medium? Well, what they do, Doug, is they make a whole bunch of these steaks and then they put them in the sous vide and they sit there. And then when you order a medium, they'll take it out, sear it, and then serve it to you. Sous vide is amazing, Doug. It's amazing. I'm telling you, and it's amazingly easy.
It seems like it'd be a lot of work, and maybe I'm just wrong. And they're like, "Hey, do this."
No.
I don't want to do any of that. That sounds like a lot of work.
No, it's not a lot of work at all. I am telling you, my kids do it. I can do it. It's so fucking easy, Doug. And it comes out amazing. We do our pork in it. We've done salmon in it. Salmon, that's what my youngest calls it. Make fun of me all you want. We do sous vide is great, dude. I'm telling you. Look into it more. It's the complete opposite of what you think it is. It makes steaks brainless, actually. You don't even have to think. I love it. Season it, put it in that stupid bag, come back an hour and a half, 2 hours later. All you got to do is sear it, Doug, and you got a steak that's just beautiful. I refuse to pay for steaks outside of the house now because of the sous vide. Fantastic. Love it. Easy. If I can do it, you can do it, Doug. But yeah, something can you stop saying pseudo? Sous? we call it the sous vide. The sous boube, I call it. We got all kinds of different nicknames, Zach. You couldn't live in my house.
Well, we have a dude that has French heritage. I think his pronunciation is probably closer to what we were saying.
Right. He tries not to agree with me, but he's right. Right. It's hands off, Doug. It's easy as fuck, dude. I'm telling you.
So do you need a specific piece of equipment to do it, or what do you need to do? Like,
yeah,
I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah, you need this dumb thing. I'm gonna show it right now. Let's show it.
If it's a shake weight, I'm dropping off this fucking call.
It's I mean, it's kind of like it.
Oh no!
And it's look. That's what you do. And then what you do is you put it in a container with the water down here. You see that? And then you just stick like this guy's doing. You stick your steak in there. And
I can't see anything. You're not showing me anything. So.
Damn, that's horrible. So it's this thing here. So it's like it's like an immersive thing. So
you set it in like I said in a thing of water. You put that in and you set it.
Yep, you set it.
Forget it.
Basically, man, and you put the timer on, and you put the water in, and you make sure that the steak is below that water. It has to stay below, and then you have to do it for like an hour and a half, Doug, to make sure that it's but you can also take fucking steaks that are frozen and just throw that shit right in there. So you can go from frozen to a fucking steak. It's
fucking steak.
A fucking steak. We're back to cuss words again. I didn't say nothing about fucking the steak, Doug. That's your perversion, and you can take that wherever you want. Whatever you and Jill do on the side, man. Look, nobody's judging. It's all cool. But I'm not. You know, man, I'm not even going to judge on that shit. But no, sous vide is amazing, Doug. I cannot sing the praises of one instrument. So we ended up getting two so that we could do two things at once. We've done corn on a cob in there. We've done all kinds of shit in a sous vide. I love it. Anyway, I didn't think we were going to be here.
I'm going to pause for a second and extol the virtues of water for all of us in the process.
I was going to say
something else. Oh, I'm still going.
I was going to say
I'm still going.
We're going to need some water.
Props to the water here in the process. Hydration matters.
Lotion in the basket. I don't think so.
So what I'm jealous as hell of is that you both live in climates where you can go cook outdoors for some portion of the year.
Yeah.
The fact that you have a smoker, you can do that. Did I mention Houston has two seasons? It's either hot or hot and wet.
Right.
I'm not built for that shit. Okay.
Yeah, right. I grill all year round, even in the snow. That doesn't.
I am built for cold weather. I'm built for cold weather in such a big way. It's not even funny. But okay.
We smoke what? We smoke 10 months out of the 12. So we smoke all the time.
I'm jealous as hell.
I'm gonna ask you a question, Mike. I'm gonna say Coffee Mike. Coffee Mike. Hey. So did you notice with the relative cocktail of what your wife is like, does she get cold super easy?
So okay,
because I do.
I don't know that she gets cold super easy.
Well, you also live on the surface of the sun, but I mean, like,
this is true.
That's because you're cold-hearted, Doug.
That's fair.
So what I found fascinating before and after, there are some people who are hot sleepers and cold sleepers. So poll to the group. I am a goddamn furnace when I sleep. Okay, so I sleep and apparently I radiate heat. and that's me getting rid of whatever calories and toxins, whatever's in my life that day, right? Christine is a relatively cold person. She will cocoon herself in weighted blankets and other things for a variety of reasons, and that's how she rolls, right? So I'm just like, I'm heating up the room. She's somebody who needs heat in the process. You would think that would make us cuddly. It's kind of the opposite. She needs to cocoon herself in the process. Having multiple places with bedrooms, just like this is the weirdest thing. And I'm gonna go on a limb, but I've had enough to drink, so I'm gonna go there here at this point in the night with y'all.
Go with I.
Like, yeah, one or the other of us will stay in that office apartment for the better part. Like, for a long time, what happened with the apartment, even though it was a studio apartment, if I was working late or I had early morning calls, I would stay there. And what ended up happening is I'd stay at the apartment from Sunday night until Friday morning. Like, it was like I was a traveling consultant, even though I wasn't getting the airline miles. It was only 5 minutes away from my house, but I'd leave on Sunday and come home on Friday, right? What we discovered, the idea of sleep hygiene is an important thing. The idea of how you sleep and how well you sleep and taking care of yourself while you sleep actually matters in such a big way as we all get older in the process. And I didn't give it enough credit. So the fact that she probably stays at the apartment and I sleep now at the house and we're sleeping in different places probably is better for the both of us.
Right.
It breaks every idea of romance. It breaks every idea of marriage. It breaks every idea of
romance.
the process. But
romance.
Did I mention that we're both probably happier this way? And as I've tested it with like other people I work with quietly in the process, they're both like, yeah, you know, I've got a bed in the study where I work downstairs, so sometimes I just crash there at night. Like, in the same house, they're in different rooms. And our grandparents probably all slept in different beds in the process. So I'm like, I have to rewire those expectations of what my married life was going to be versus the reality that actually makes us all happier in the process. Props to whoever threw that out there.
Me.
That was great.
Okay, that's you. That's great, right? Like, but this is a real thing. Like there's storybook and fairy tale, and you're all curled up with each other at night in the process. Like, the more preparation we get, probably the better for us in the process. We're both happy. It works for us. It kind of weirds me out sometimes, but we're actually happier in the process. But it's because I'm a damn furnace when I go to bed. Like, when I finally fall asleep, I'm just radiating heat everywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
During the day, I would tell you that it's layers of padding. Let's call it polite for that. I'm insulated.
Well, Doug doesn't even use a top sheet, so he's a fucking moron anyway on this. I don't even.
The hell?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get into the top sheet debate, no. I have something to say on the furnace thing.
All right.
Because prior to my heart attack, I was the furnace. Like, I was like, I'd walk around outside in 40-degree weather in shorts and a t-shirt. I loved it.
Right.
And now if it's below 70, I'm fucking cold. And it's because I'm on a million blood thinners and blood pressure meds, and I'm cold.
Sorry.
So
you asked me that original question, and yes, I do think that has changed since Christine's been on the medications.
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing is, since I've shifted, so my wife is in perimenopause, and like, she gets into moments where she's just a fucking furnace, and other moments she's not.
Do we want to talk about that here tonight? Let's go there.
Well, It's interesting because I don't think a lot of guys understand just how fucking crazy that is for them. Like, the temperature variance. It's not like you're just hot all the time. You're hot, and then you're fucking cold, and then you're normal, and then it is.
Yes.
So, like, the problem is like, so I'm now like, I'm just blankets all around me, and my poor wife is like just sprawled out because she's so hot. And then later on, I look over and she's bundled up, and it's weird how your bodies adjust to shit.
Yes, and you have to be ready for the mental shot. Like Christine, to an emergency hysterectomy, like, kind of all of this happened to us quickly in the process, and I don't think either of us realized it was. She may have had more awareness of it. I certainly didn't.
young and early in our marriage at the time. But this is one of those things where you sort of surf the change and realize this is what's happening out there. Like it's such an amazing. Sorry, Zach, you fucker.
No, it would not. Not for me. I'm fine.
Anyway, I'll shut up. Greg, what do you have to tell us?
I'm saying it right here. A top sheet would cure all Doug's problems, but he doesn't want to see it. He doesn't want to say. But look, this is the guy. This is the guy that just said that sous vides are hard to do. What?
Well, I'd never done it. I'd never done it.
Right,
So
and you probably never.
Now I stand corrected.
And you probably never done a top sheet either, though. Even though you're this big advocate against them, right? But did you do it after your heart attack? No. If you did it after your heart attack, it would solve all your problems. It would probably even solve your heart problems. Damn it. I'm taking a stand.
I'm going to say the science behind that is suspect.
The science is solid. God damn it! Shut up. Don't talk to me about top sheet science. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Tell me we have any female in the comments who wants to chime in on this. I mean,
no, but listen, no, Daniel, we're not going to talk gravy and avocados. Doug is not good with. Well, Doug at least appreciates gravy. He appreciates gravy. Doug does not appreciate avocados, Mike. And
I live in the land of guacamole. What do you have against avocados?
Right. Tell him.
It's
fucking tell him.
It's like poi. It's like poi, but from California.
So
okay. So let's unpack this a little bit.
Right.
The avocado is a fruit itself with a little bit of salt, cut out in slices. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Avocado on toast, if you're under 40, is a great thing for you in your life.
Right. Doug.
I think they all this gray hair, honestly.
Doug's an oldie poldy, so he doesn't like that.
Avocado toast is
I'm the oldest guy in this chat, so yeah.
You got me that thing. Hang on, you sure about
He's
that?
an old. Yes, he is. Let's not even. Yeah, keep going. Right. He's a
Okay, you got me by 6. Okay,
he's a cranky old dude that rails against avocado toast. Right.
I don't rail against avocado toast. I rail against avocados. Toast is delicious.
No. So Doug and I will have grown up in the age where guacamole was the only place where we understood avocados coming from. Like avocado as a fruit didn't exist growing up. Guacamole was the only thing that existed. Now, my parents, God love them, believe that avocados went into a food processor to become guacamole, and they love the guacamole they made in a food processor.
Let's ask our guy Greg about avocados being in California, what he thinks of them, because
California or Florida, avocados are one of those you either like California avocados or Florida avocados, right?
California.
At this point in the process, what I've learned is that avocados are better mashed with the fork than the food processor. Let's not make a sort of smooth paste out of avocados in the process. It's not the avocado toast. It's the lattes. It's Starbucks that's keeping you out of housing market in the process.
Right. Well, y'all, we should wrap up here soon, shouldn't we, Doug?
Yeah, we should, because it's 2 hours and 45 minutes in.
I mean, I'm gonna keep going until you tell me not to. So that's fine.
Well, we can't. We can't break Zach's record, right, Zach?
All right, Zach's wife just sent me a message showing me their avocado tree. So,
Zach's wife's trolling with avocado trees.
She sent me a picture of their avocado tree in their fucking yard. God
she's
damn
the best, and I am jealous of that shit. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Jenny is awesome.
Wouldn't it, Mike?
Jenny is awesome. How the hell she married Zach, I'm not entirely sure, but
we're still trying to figure that out. I think Zach's still trying to figure that out, actually.
And I just got a text from CJ being like, "Hey, here's a picture of an avocado." Gee, thanks, dude. That's just what I want.
Yes, y'all the best. I love our fucking commenters. Y'all the shit. And I got this nice tequila here too that goes well with guacamole. What tequila doesn't, Mike?
Oh shit! Right.
Mike, we got one last question for you. Do you have any last questions?
No, because if I have another question, we're going to go another hour and a half.
I promise to be succinct. If you got a question, I'll be crisp.
No, I don't actually. But I just want to say, we have to have you back because I actually want to dive more into coffee stuff. We really didn't talk about that.
I was about to ask. I was really going to ask.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
do you want to ask? Do you want to ask one coffee question, Doc? One of us gets one coffee question.
I'm going to ask one. Here's your preferred method for coffee at your home.
Okay. Wow, that's a complicated question.
I don't mean you have 50 options. I mean, give me one option that you prefer.
I understand the question. So let me tell you what I'm doing right now. It is a Kalita pour-over beer. Kalita. Why do I say that? Kalita is a flat bottom pour-over beer. So what are we doing? All right, let me give you the quick answer. We're grinding up a bunch of coffee beans. Yes, Zach, we talked about coffee stouts. You missed that one in the process. You grind the coffee, pour water over the coffee, extract all the wonderfulness out of the coffee bean into your coffee cup. Right? The difference that Kalita brought as a company in Japan was they created a flat bottom brewer. So instead of being conical, instead of coming to a point, they created a flat bottom. So what that means is the water is coming through the coffee differently and more evenly in the process. Okay. So bigger picture, people will talk about columnar brewing and what you can do with actually just sort of a straight column of water sitting on top of coffee. But the Kalita I have has been for a number of years kind of the champion of creating a cleaner, more interesting pour-over cup of coffee. So if you're willing to take 10 minutes in the morning to make your cup of coffee from scratch, grind the beans, brew the beans, etc., a Kalita is a wonderful, different pour-over to create in the process. Okay? Take special filters with the flat bottom in the process, Kalita. That's what I do now. I have a grinder, I have fresh beans, I have a Kalita, I have a kettle that sets the temperature. I pour a normal pour over. That's great. At the apartment, I have a Technovorm, which is the best I've found in terms of automatic drip machines. I'm going to pour coffee in there. I'm going to put water in the reservoir. I'm going to press go. I'm going to watch a wonderful pot of coffee come out in the process. Technovorm is one of the best out there. Beyond that, we can make espresso. We can make weird things like the Bright I talked about. We can make all kinds of other kinds of coffee in the process. But mine is metal, not glass. It's a Kalita 385, I think it is. But all of them in the process, the thing Kalita brought to the market was a flat bottom in the brewer rather than a conical or a V-shaped brewer in the process.
So my question is, do you put a filter on the top, or do you use all the beans on the bottom? Like, how does that work? Because I've never seen that. I've never seen actually.
Got it. Version. It's a pour. So like a normal pour over. Yeah.
I know what you mean. Like I have I have one of those.
There's a special filter paper that Kalita makes for it that has a flat bottom. You buy Kalita filters. Okay. So you're going to put a filter paper in the brewer, you're going to wet it down, and then you're going to add the coffee, and then you're going to pour the water through the coffee in the process. Okay. So it is a filtered pour over, like everything else. And that's what I do here because the Technovorm is at the apartment. The automatic drip machine is at the apartment and not here. That's what I got. At the end of the day, like beer, like whiskey, like everything else, drink what you love. Okay. If you like a Starbucks, if you like Nescafe instant coffee, if you like Folgers, drink what you love, right? The best coffee at the end of the day is what you like to drink and wake up in the morning. I remember vividly a friend of mine's wedding in Scotland, a Scottish friend of mine's wedding that was happening in Brighton. Let me clarify that. Or Bristol. It was Bristol. It was in England. We're at 2 a.m. We're about as drunk as I am right now. And there's a former Royal Marine who's taking us through a Scotch tasting. Now, if you've never been to a wedding in England of a Scotswoman and someone else, there's a lot of really nice Scotch that comes out. Like a lot of really nice Scotch that comes out in the process. And so at 2 a.m, after the wedding and most of the reception and all the things are carrying on, and we've got bacon sandwiches coming out, we're having Scotch tasting through a bunch of coffees. Kev takes us through, taste it neat, taste it with ice, hold it on your tongue, taste it with water, do all the things you do. And at the end of the day, what's the right way to drink Scotch? He leans in, big, stocky, muscular Royal Marine, and goes, however the fuck you like to drink it. I'm like, I've never been so terrified of an answer before in my life. But it applies to whiskey, it applies to coffee, it applies to everything else. However you like to drink it is the right way to drink it. Okay? Back to why this group got renamed. Back to why we're having these coffee chats. Back to why we're bringing whiskey like me into a beer drinking chat, right? However you like to drink it is the right thing. If you like Bud Light, I'm not going to be mad at you for the process of liking Bud Light. I'm going to offer you other things that might be interesting to you, but I'm not mad at you in the process. I'm not looking down on you in the process. Love your Bud Light in the process. Love your non-alcoholic beers in the process. Love your decaf coffees. And you all know that I'll make fun of people who drink decaf, but at the same token, if that's what you need to do, if that's what you want to do, or that's what you like, I will celebrate that with you, right? The enthusiasm we bring to any hobby we have in life, coffee, whiskey, beer, watches, whatever it is, the enthusiasm is the infectious part of this. Bring that to the mix, right? And I will celebrate that with you. It's not about the snobbishness. I'm happy to educate you. I'm happy to be educated by you guys on better beers out there in the world. Like, we've gone through a number of things here in the process, and I'm sure you have other things for me to go find and seek out and go look for. Like, I love this community, but, I'm not even reading the comments right now. It's just hair. I still got hair. But I love the hell out of a straw hat. Like, I'm super proud of the straw hat recently, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna wear the hell out of this thing just because I can, right? But at the end of the day, if you're gonna sit here and tell me your community is about inclusiveness, then it's not about telling you you're wrong for what you like. It's not about telling you you don't like the right beers. You're not as sophisticated as somebody else is. Like, that's all bullshit, right? Zach is, for all of his amazing rough edges, Zach is a better cook with an Instant Pot than I am. By far. I've seen him do it, right? I don't care, right? I love what I love. I'm going to learn from the people around me, but bring that enthusiasm and celebrate that enthusiasm, right? So when I show up with my shitty food in an Instant Pot, like, celebrate that with me in the process. When I show up with the fact that I bought 4 beers randomly, one of which I made sure was non-alcoholic because I knew I'd be at the slurry point in the night, y'all have celebrated that with me. We've all had a weekend. No one's made me feel excluded from that in the process, right?
Right.
This is the right way to create a community. I want your enthusiasm, not whether you're right in terms of what you're drinking or in terms of what you're eating or in terms of what you're doing. I want to celebrate your enthusiasm. This happens in the pen community. For God's sake, fountain pens is a community I'm in. Like, this is random ass shit.
Right.
But there are people who sit and go, oh, you should have a gold nib, or you should have this, or you should have that. You know what? Love what you love.
Yeah, true, but I don't know. Doug still needs to try Top Sheet. I'm still going to sit there and say that. So, that's
okay, Doug sleeps wrong. Let's accept
that.
Right,
Doug is wrong about that. Right. But Mike, we're gonna have closing arguments here.
and then I'm around for a group call with whoever wants to keep going tonight. Because I'm done, but y'all got to point me in at some point. So
we have a little thing called post production until Doug passes out.
Okay.
Actually, he's never passed out, but we've had some.
There's one time where I fell asleep, but that was because I'd had an exceptionally rough week, and that was with.
Yeah.
Okay. Closing arguments. What's the closing arguments?
We don't know.
What did you like out of all the stuff you drank? What did you like? That's usually...
Out of all the stuff I drank. That's a really good question. It was the coffee. So the highlight for me, probably top of the mix, was the Blackadder Black Matter, sorry, coffee stout. Right?
Yeah, coffee Mike.
Love what they're doing there in the process. Love the sweetness, but the balance of it in the process. All the whiskeys, all the liquor that I drank tonight are old friends of mine in the process. And I think other than that, if I leave you with nothing else, it's that I don't want anybody to feel they're unsophisticated or unable to hang or not part of the crew just because they like basic stuff in the process, right?
Right.
If you love your Jim Beam, if you love your Maker's Mark, if you love your Budweiser, I don't care what it is, right? I want your enthusiasm, your participation, right? I'm going to celebrate that with you. I'll help you find things you might be interested in the process, but community is so much better when we embrace the people around us at where they are, not where they should be, right? Kill the snobbishness. Let's just enjoy this. Greg, you're going to teach me about tequilas in a way.
Preaching hard,
but
and
hardcore. Like this is what I believe in, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if you like blue bathrobes, you like pink bathrobes, you like whatever it is in the process, purple bathrobes, whatever. Wear a bathrobe. And yeah, that's for Zach. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, right. Happy Father's Day, Mike.
Holy shit, is that this weekend as well? Because I'm realizing I can't quite focus on the screen right now, so we're just going to carry on.
Right. Manny says he's going to be eating cereal all day.
You know, I love eating cereal all day. Look, I'm about lowering carbs, but damn, I miss cereal. I miss Cocoa Pebbles. I miss Fruit Loops. I miss Fruity Pebbles. I miss all those things from my childhood. Those are a great thing. Props to all the dads in the chats in the process. Happy Father's Day to you all. Yeah,
Mike?
sorry, Greg. Talk over me before I keep going. I'm gonna fill a void. So yes, sir.
Cool. Doug and I want to thank you for joining us. We will see you in post-production.
Yes, sir.
I'm around.
Thank you for everything you do, and we can't wait to have you back. And what else we gotta say, Doug? Nothing.
Man, thanks for being here. Thanks for dropping all that shit on us, and it's been great. And we love having you on. So yeah.
Right. Hey, Mike. There's a keto cereal if you're okay seeking $9.
Do you know how many Costco's I went to over the last weekend trying to find it at a cheaper price than I can get at Kroger? Yes, I'm well aware of the keto cereals, and they're fucking delicious.
Damn.
Let's end it there. On keto cereal, let's end it there. I'm going to toast you all, you wonderful bastards. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for being with you all. I love catching up with you guys. I love catching up with everybody in the chat in the process, too. Seriously, it's a treat.
Don't click out of anything. We'll
I'm not
see
doing
you in
anything.
post-production. Okay.
We'll see you in a few minutes.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, man.
Doug, you first. You go. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day on Juneteenth.
I know.
Look at that. It's a.
All right. So if I'm gonna go in order, honestly, the Hellas was good, remarkable. This was really super interesting. The Glutenberg Stout with the millet and corn. It was like I said, it's something like flat stout, but not terrible. Just like it's interesting, but it was really good. The beer winner was the Sorcerer, which was the
beer winner.
That was the salted caramel pecan pie American stout.
Yes,
it was a good dessert stout, not overly sweet, but good,
and not a patriarchy.
Yeah, no, this is gonna win every time because this is fucking delicious. So,
how long have you had that shit?
This was all right. So the funny thing is, it's aged 14 years. It was bottled in 2002. So it's 4 years. Been 4 years in my house. So this is a 20-year-old bottle of scotch.
Doug, we got to have this conversation about because we're having a conversation in my house right now about liquor cabinets and like storing liquor and like how do you store your liquor? I don't want that answer because we're gonna go way too far. But how do y'all store your liquor out there? Let's talk about this next week. But next week we have we can talk about this next week. Next week we have where the hell is my damn where is all of this? Next week we have April Dove.
Yeah.
She is a badass black woman who is a brewer now, and she's going to be bringing. She started off as a blogger and all that. And I have something here, so we are super excited for her to come and chat with us about. She's out of South Carolina, doing big things, making big statements about beer, and it's great. But yeah, what do we do? Because like the lady and I, again, we've been raising kids, man, and we haven't really had time to, go to different distilleries. But now we're hitting distilleries, and it seems like we pick up a bottle at a distillery. Soon we're just going to have a lot. And Afro Beer Chick said on one of my Thursday space, or one of our Thursday spaces, our Thursday spaces, that she has over 200 bottles, Doug, of bourbon. She just goes like everywhere. Yeah, everywhere they go, they just pick up one, and then magically all of a sudden she has like 200. I'm like, how do you keep all that? We've never had that conversation.
And how do you afford that? That's
well,
to me, that's a bigger question because I can't afford that. Hey, kudos to her. She figured that shit out.
Right, but I don't think that this thing just started like yesterday with her. No, I'm pretty sure. It's been you know what I mean? It's been years. You know what I mean? So like, if you theoretically just grab a bottle of bourbon almost every time you go buy beer, you might end up with like 100 beer, 100 bottles really, really fast, though, because you're just like, you're just adding. Plus the pandemic, like that was a time where we weren't really spending money going out. So I'm pretty sure that's when, right, and I'm pretty sure that's when she, definitely, her and Nick definitely amassed a whole bunch of like, brews during that time. But we don't have 200, Doug. But they're skyrocketing in our house, and I'm just like, fuck it, why not? Why can't I have like 6 or 7 different tequilas to try, or to be at my disposal on a Saturday afternoon when I want a day drink, and none of y'all are around.
And you don't want to fucking get hammered. You're just looking to have a nice beverage during the middle of the day.
Right. Now, if I want to get hammered too, the options are there too. Anyway, Doug, I wasn't impressed by any of my beers. I wasn't like overly impressed. They were all solid in their little way. So they're all going to get featured at the same time. They were all good representations of what they were, but there was nothing that was like, oh man, I got to have this again. But at the same time, I would have them again, but I wouldn't like be like, oh, I really need that, if that makes sense. But if they're available to me, I would. And then I also had this nicely wonderful bottle of tequila on Respirado. I did a second shot. So next week we have April Dove. Let me get her name right. Brewer from South Carolina. She's going to be talking about her charity. I'm pretty sure it's a charity beer. Where is this again? Right. So yeah, and then in between, I have 3 spaces, one on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Check them all out on Twitter. I would love to have y'all guys show up. Y'all can actually jump on and talk with me, audio wise. And I will. I want you to tell you what tequila you like. We'll
delve into that
for sure. Doug, I just wanted to thank you for being you, and going on this journey with me. I rarely do that, but I'm going to do that now. I want to thank everybody for celebrating Juneteenth and spreading the word on that. It's very important in history, especially with our CRT and people trying to erase history. Mm-hmm. Scream and holler about Juneteenth. Show up to an event. It's Pride Month too. So we have that.
We haven't even talked about that. So
we didn't even talk about that yet. We can talk about that next week for sure. I'm sure April would love to talk about that maybe. Also, it's Father's Day. So be good to your fathers. They work hard all year to support your fucking ass mostly. Most of them do. So show them some love on a Sunday. And anything else, Doug? Did I catch everything? There's a lot, man.
I think we hit most of it, man. Thank you for being part of this and having me part of it. It's been great. And, man, love you, dude.
Yeah, and it's a great week. Talk about that too. We talked about a little bit, but cheers is the last of my Respirado as we go out here, and y'all have a great weekend. I don't know how is it going to be nice weather-wise, Doug, for you?
It's going to be a great weekend. It's not going to be hot, so that's good by me.
Cool. Got any? You don't have to get into them, but you got any plans for Father's Day, or how do you like your Father's Day? Is it?
I like my Father's Day like every other
low
fucking
key?
day. I don't want shit. I don't want a celebration. I just want to be with my kids and my wife.
And then do y'all like do a dinner or something, or is this business as usual?
Usually I make dinner, so like I'm happy to do that. We might do that. We'll see what comes up. We haven't made any plans. And listen, I'm good with that. I'm a dad 24/7, even if I don't see my kids all the time because custody arrangements, but that's okay. And I don't feel like it's a necessary thing for me.
All right. So Zach's right. See y'all next week with April Dove.
Hot tub weekend for me. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Zach, shut up, man.